everyone, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis, where it's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Hope you're having a great Thursday, a great Friday Eve. Brooke Grimsley is here.
Yes, I am here.
Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis is here.
I'm sweating.
Sweating already.
Those
Working.
Those stadium stairs I ran at Illinois back in the day, it definitely assisted me a few minutes ago.
Is that, aside from, I guess, swimming, I would think stairs have to be the most grueling cardio exercise there is.
It's awful. I mean, we had a lot of different workouts, though. We had 33 110s was our max.
Oh, man.
That was terrible.
Yeah, don't even talk to me about that. 16
full gassers was really terrible. And so, that's down, back. That was, it wasn't great.
That's when you're young and in condition, though. You're
we were
prepared to do
good.
that. Old people,
No, thank you.
we don't do that kind of thing.
Nah.
No.
But the stadium stairs were terrible because we had to do the entire stadium. It was It was a bear all the way up to the top.
I feel like even, it doesn't matter how fit you are, something about the stairs always humbles you.
It's a mental grind.
Even if you're just in a building and you're like, I work out every day. I do the Stairmaster when I go to the gym. I got this. And then I do the stairs in a building. You're like, whoa, this is a different type of stairs, huh?
Yeah, T-Far used to do the steps at the Dome.
Oh, really?
Oh, brother.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. Very cool victory for the Blues last night. Late start. No, CD, late start. So I went to bed early, but they were so dominant, I figured.
Well, when they got to the second period, they lost it. They scored a 3.
Lost?
They gave up the lead in the second period. But the first half, now you're correct. If you watch the first, 30 minutes of the game, you might feel that
Feel pretty good.
Yeah. But those last 30 minutes.
Now that I check, it looks like they lost 6-3.
You might have thought that the curse was lifted because they were actually able to respond, even though they didn't score first. They were able to respond with 3 goals. You're like, all right, the vibes are great.
Here we go.
And then it just fell apart.
Zach Whitecloud scoring early on for... Let's tell you what we got coming up on this show, by the way. Greg Amsinger is flying this morning, so we're not going to have him. He's flying from Nashville back home. We're going to have Greg Warren in studio, along with Mizzou wrestling coach Brian Smith. We've got some wrestling coming up in St. Louis in the later part of this month, the night before the Bragging Rights game. And we're also going to talk to Jeremy Rutherford during the course of this show about the Blues, who did fall behind last night on a Zach Whitecloud Vegas goal, 8:03 into the game. But then at the 9:20 mark, the Blues' leading goal scorer tied the game.
Trangelo threw Hutton to Barbashev on the near side, lost it to Thomas, bringing it in. Neighbors with Buchnevich. Neighbors to the goal. He scores! Jake Neighbors with his 10th of the year ties the game for the Blues. 10:40 to go. Period number 1.
All right, feeling pretty good. And after Neighbors scored, Kevin Hayes scored at the 10:33 mark, 2-1 Blues. And then before the period was out, the Blues' slumping goal scorer came out of his slumber.
Kyrou into the middle. What a play! Stick handles! Score! Jordan Kyrou is flying tonight. 3-1 St. Louis.
Get the highlight ready.
Athletic goal. 2:49 to play here in the first.
And there you go. The Blues are up 3-1, and we're thinking, okay, pretty good. But then we stayed up.
Good game, guys.
Yeah, good game. Second period, I think two things happened. Number one, I think Vegas decided, okay, enough of this. Come on now. We're the Stanley Cup champions, and these are the Blues. Their own owner said they aren't elite. We are elite. So they kind of took over. Their elite player, Jack Eichel, scoring to make it 3-2. They go on a power play. Jonathan Marchessault, another elite player, scores to tie the game at 3. And then at the 12:18 mark, one of their young, talented players came through.
They've got the pressure all in the blue zone. Good poke by Saad. Got it up to the blue line, not out. It's a 3-3 game here in St. Louis. Launch shot towards the goal. 4-3 Vegas. Told you it was coming, Mike. And the Knights have taken a 1-goal lead with 3 goals unanswered here and 7:42 to go in the second period.
And then another power play goal before the period was out. Mario from Stevenson and Barbashev, an empty netter late for the Knights, who win it by a score of 6-3. And it was just, it was an all-around destruction of the Blues and self-destruction on the part of the Blues because they allowed eight power plays. That's a league high this year.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of those games where, we're really critical of the Blues and their effort. I think last night was pretty good effort. They just ran into a team that's better than them, and that happens in sports. You can accept some losses. You never want to lose, but you can accept that you're going to lose some games. You're not going to win them all. That it's happened in football one time. It hasn't happened in any other sports because it's too hard to win every single game. So you can accept it. They played it really well to begin the game, the first 30 minutes, and then the Golden Knights are a better team right now, so they finished the game in the way that they needed to finish it.
Exactly. I mean, that's what you ran into. And the penalties, I mean, those just really matched up for the Blues. I know that we just already got a text in this morning from the 314 that says, guys, the refs mishandled that third period, really soft penalties. Half the period were on the penalty kill. And here's the thing is, the penalties, especially that I know that they were mentioning the third period, but if you go to the second period, towards the end there, the too many men, that is what sealed the deal for me right there, because then it made it 5-3 with the Golden Knights, and that's where I just said, okay, this is where it's on the Blues. The too many men, that's always going to be on the Blues and on the coaching staff in that situation.
Yeah, and so the Blues fall by a score of 6-3, and they'll play the Blue Jackets tomorrow night. And, of course, you'll hear that here on 101 ESPN with the pregame at 5 o'clock. The Billikens had an 18-point lead over Drake at Drake. Drake hadn't lost at home this year. Billikens fall by the score of 75-69, 41-25 at halftime. And then the Bills outscored 26-12 to start the second half. And they lost the lead with 2:25 left. Bruce Zhang and Siam Medley started with Mike Meadows and Larry Hughes the second out with injury. And so it's a loss for St. Louis University. Thursday night football tonight, Patriots at Steelers.
Get your popcorn ready. We might have a shootout.
Old school.
It's going to be touchdowns left and right.
And touchdowns?
I don't know about that. Well, Kenny Pickett's injured, right?
It doesn't matter.
Is he injured?
And
did you see the report they were planning on benching him even prior to this injury?
It doesn't matter. All right, at this point, man, whoever scores 3 first probably wins. If you get a touchdown, you probably win by, double digits. I don't know. It's just you are going to. It's going to be a tough game to watch.
It is. The baseball winter meetings concluded with finally a blockbuster as Juan Soto of the Padres. Yeah, he is.
Start spreading the news.
Talking.
Oh.
I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, no doubt that Juan Soto, formerly of the Padres, is... he gets traded, 7-player deal. He goes to New York along with Trent Grisham for 3 guys who are capable of starting for the Padres this year. And remember, the Padres lost Michael Wacha. They've lost Seth Lugo. They've lost Blake Snell. So they needed to replenish their starting rotation. They have done so. And Juan Soto, man, that lineup with Judge probably hitting leadoff.
You think Judge is going to be the leadoff?
Yeah.
Soto is batting second.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, and
the
then,
Bronx Bombers are back.
Yeah.
My
Stanton,
goodness.
it's going to go left, right. So you'll have Judge, Soto, Stanton, Rizzo as your top 4. It'll be
good luck.
the Bronx Bombers.
Tell them good luck.
That means that DJ LeMahieu is going to be in like the 5 or 6 hole for them. That's a ridiculous lineup. Gleyber Torres has been in like 7th.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. And they're going to pursue Yamamoto. They've got a meeting with Yamamoto on Monday. The Mets owner, Steve Cohen, met with Yamamoto last week along with their president of baseball operations with the Mets, David Stearns. But the Yankees apparently are not going to be outbid financially for Yoshi Yamamoto.
Wasn't Shilton meeting with Soto?
He was planning to, yeah. Now he's going to meet with 3 new starting pitchers.
Things happen quickly.
Yeah, they do.
Very quickly.
I think this is that's the type of news that I think Cardinal fans wanted to hear. Like, we get a superstar player and are on the verge of going to get another superstar player. It's different teams, different markets, different owners, different franchises. They don't have a problem with spending money in going to get those types of guys.
But when you look at the nature of baseball for these winter meetings, I'm willing to give the Cardinals credit for doing most of their lifting before the meetings even started, because nobody else is getting anything done. I mean, it was a real. There were 3 players of note that were moved during these winter meetings. To this point in the offseason, and basically the transaction season started right after the World Series, November 1st. And you've had Kimbrel move, you've had Soto move, and there was a Verdugo move. The Yankees made 2 of them. So the Cardinals and the Yankees are far and away the 2 most aggressive teams so far in this offseason. Now, do you love what the Cardinals have done in terms of being a finished product? No, but to their credit, they have gotten things done and other teams have not.
Exactly. And also, John Mozeliak mentioned yesterday, I sent you guys the quote. John Denton of MLB.com has this. He sees this as a World Series contending team. Right now, the Cardinals.
Yeah, I don't. And I'm glad that he does. And he you know.
Say that again?
Do you want me to read you the quote? You look flabbergasted.
I heard it.
When I said that. I don't know why you would be so flabbergasted by that,
They lost 91 games last year.
And I think they're back to, I think right now, if I were to project, if I were to be, what's the name? Oh, it's Pacoda. If I were Bill Pacoda today, I would say they're 81-81. I would think that they're about a 500 team. And I think there are things they can do to get to 91 wins, 92, and be, to me, if you get into the playoffs, you're a World Series contender. The Diamondbacks were a World Series contender last year, clearly, because they were in the World Series. The year before that, the Phillies had the fewest wins of any National League playoff team, but they were a World Series. I said here on this, I was sitting in this chair, I said there's only one team in these playoffs in the National League that can't make the World Series, and it's Philadelphia. And they did. The year before that, Atlanta wasn't a World Series contender, but they wound up in the World Series. So if you make the playoffs, you are a World Series contender, and if he's convinced that the Cardinals are a playoff team right now, then they are.
So here is the quote from John Denton, and Denton says, asked if he saw the Cardinals as World Series contenders with the pitching roster constructed, POBO John Mozeliak said, I do. We're excited about what we have. You've got to play games, and you need a lot of things to happen. I can be as bullish as I want, but that's why we play.
Are they going to win their division? Right now? I mean, obviously, other teams haven't done anything.
Now, the Cubs.
We expect the Cubs to go out and do some things.
And at this point, Milwaukee hasn't taken apart their franchise yet, right?
Right.
But they did get rid of Mark Canha. They aren't great offensively, and they've lost Woodruff for the year. So, Brewers are still, and they lost their manager. So, okay, so Reds are not. I still can't figure out how the Reds won 82 games last year.
That was intriguing.
Brewers, Cubs right now, no Bellinger, no Stroman. They haven't done anything to replace those guys yet. Pirates. So right now, I mean, as we sit here at 7:13 in the morning on December 7th, 2023, I would say yes, the Cardinals would be considered the favorites. Will it be that way 1 month from today when the Cubs are done doing all they need or all they want to do? Probably not. The Cubs are interested in Chapman. They're interested in getting a starting pitcher. Heck, they're still interested in Ohtani. So I would guess that the Cubs will probably be the favorites. But as Mo said, that's why they play the games.
Exactly. You got to be bullish about it. And if you look at the Cardinals' schedule to begin the season next year, it is not going to be easy. You have the Dodgers. You're going to be, obviously, on the West Coast. So Dodgers, Padres. Then you're going to face the Marlins. Then you're going to face the Phillies. Then you're going to face the Diamondbacks. Then you're going to face the A's, which, obviously, a break. But that's going to take a minute to get to that break for them. But that is a very tough way to start your schedule.
Brooke, that sounds to me like a schedule that could get people fired early.
Oh, no. You think so they play the A's by April 15th.
But let's go beyond the A's. Let's look at the rest of April.
Okay, so then you have the Brewers, and you have the Diamondbacks again, the Mets, the Tigers, and White Sox to start May.
Okay, I would say that, I hate to say this, but I could absolutely see another 14 and 24.
Oh, come
That'd
on,
be
man.
brutal.
Come on, Randy.
I mean, look at the schedule. Are they going to beat up on the Dodgers? Are they going to beat up on the Diamondbacks? Went outside Eduardo Rodriguez yesterday, the left-hander from Detroit. They don't look like they're sitting on their laurels after going to the World Series. The only walkover I see there is the A's. I think everybody else would have to be. I'll bet you the betting lines will generally favor the opposition over the Cardinals. Wouldn't you think for that first month?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long start to the season.
Could be. No.
And we saw what happened last season when you didn't get off to a great start.
But here's the thing. You do have, at the beginning of the season, you have the fresh, sunny gray. Sunny comes home. You hopefully have a fresh and ready to go Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. Hopefully you have a closer, maybe even another closer that's willing to pitch a back-to-back day. So there's a lot of things that if you want to look through it with sunshine lollipops, you can say, okay, the Cardinals can compete with everybody, but now are you going to be able to do it over 6 months? That's my biggest question. Can they do it for 6 months?
Sunshine and lollipops or Cardinals Kool-Aid?
Oh, Cardinal Kool-Aid is good.
Cardinal Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Red flavor?
Yeah.
Rainbow. We're together.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
At least one person laughed at my oh, yeah. Thank you.
He's like, oh, yeah.
I am.
Oh, yeah. Wait, can you guys do it? Yeah.
Wasn't that the Kool-Aid?
That's the Kool-Aid.
Oh, yeah.
You do it. Okay, yeah. But it's like, because he's busting through the wall. Oh, yeah.
Cardinals will be busting through that wall.
Oh.
So I'm willing to give credit where credit is due at this point, though, to the Cardinals, because they went out and they said we're going to get 3 starting pitchers, and they got 3 veteran starting pitchers. Do I think they need to get another? There's Elvis, by the way, outside the door. Elvis, come on in here for a second. Oh, he's on the Riz show. The King. King is great.
He is awesome.
So anyway, I'll, again, credit where credit is due. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! We've got Sick of It next on 101 ESPN. I want you to know about Mentality, a breakthrough treatment that helps you as men regain normal function and restore your ability to perform normally at all levels. Guys, as we pass our 30th birthday, our testosterone level drops. And you say, okay, well, that's cool. Well, it's not really cool, because what your low testosterone causes you to do is suffer from low energy and low motivation, and you're fatigued and tired all the time, and maybe even anxious, and have decreased mental acuity and not as sharp as you should be or as you used to be. That's why you need to go to lowtusa.com and get to Mentality. I was over there yesterday, and their board-certified physicians and their nurses are absolutely fantastic. And what they're going to do is check your testosterone level and then get it back to where it was when you were younger. And they're going to work with your insurance company to make sure that your out-of-pocket expenses at Mentality are as low as possible. And in many cases, you don't have any out-of-pocket expenses at all. But their board-certified physicians have an FDA-approved testosterone treatment that's going to get you back to where you want to feel. It's really a great thing at Mentality. Get started today at lowtusa.com. Thick of it here on 101 ESPN with Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Matthew Rocchio, I'm Randy Carricker. And guys, we always love the opening of NBA free agency where pretty much everybody signs on the first day, or NHL free agency where pretty much everybody signs on the first day of free agency, or NFL where everybody actually signs before free agency because they have their quote-unquote legal tampering period. Major League Baseball asks media. They offer media the opportunity to get hotel rooms and spend a lot of money to travel to these sites for their winter meetings so that people can report on all the transactions that Major League Baseball is going to have. You know what I'm sick of? Is Major League Baseball offering that ability and then doing nothing. Poor Katie Wu and John Denton and Derek Gould and everybody who had to go to the winter meetings to cover absolutely nothing this week. It's really stupid on the part of Major League Baseball because one thing we know, and if you're around people in the sports internet world, the interwebs, social media, the highest number of hits that sports get is when they have a trade deadline or a signing period. And Major League Baseball takes no advantage of their ability to get people engaged with the transaction, which they like better than the action. Major League Baseball, I'm sick of you calling the media to where your meeting is and then not doing anything.
Yeah, because those numbers are what drive eyeballs to the screen. When you see, quarterbacks getting $100 million in contract, Patrick Mahomes signing $500 million, that's a big number. It just drives more people to what's going on. And baseball probably has missed opportunities to, continue to grow their sport and to get more eyeballs. Because, again, if Shohei would have signed a $600 million contract, everybody in the country would be talking about that today. And baseball would be the hot topic as opposed to having to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots on TV.
Do you want to watch that? No.
I'm going to watch it.
Here's Americana. And this has happened to me twice because I go to spring training, obviously, and there have been three different occasions. This is kind of weird over the last 12 years. 3 different occasions where I have been in an airport on the first day of NFL free agency. And that's all anybody's talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All. And you walk around and you overhear people, oh, man, did you hear that player X signed? Everybody's talking about it. And baseball doesn't take advantage of their ability to have everybody talking about their sport during their offseason.
Is this more on the agents? Because you have these big name agents. As we know, Scott Boras, he even had his own press conference yesterday, which he said some interesting things. Is this more on the agents kind of holding things back? Because you didn't have any big news. The Soto stuff didn't drop until what time?
Meetings were over.
Yeah, it was like 10 something, right? That it came out. Is that more on the agents holding things out and not moving things along quick enough? I mean, I get that there's a long negotiation process when you're going to spend $600 million or however million on a person, but maybe it's the agents that are being the holdup in this?
Well, 2 things. Number 1, trades can happen. It doesn't matter.
That's
you
true.
don't need agents for trades. And maybe there needs to be a transaction deadline at the end of the meeting. So you can't do a transaction from the end of the meetings until January 15th. Mm-hmm. Maybe that will force, deadlines always force action. And maybe that will force agents to work a little bit faster so that you don't miss out on the contract and the money.
I think we just solved it right there. That's actually a really good idea.
We did it.
They need to do that. Yeah. I do feel bad. I was talking to Katie Wu and some of the other writers that were down there, and they were also talking about how big Gaylord Opryland Hotel is and how hard it was to get around.
Oh, man, yeah.
Get lost.
So then you have all this going on, and then they're trying to figure out where in the world they need to go.
And then there's nothing there happening when they get there.
Right.
Yeah.
It would suck.
Rush to get over here and
I've been there. It does suck. I remember I was at the ones it was 2000, and the Cardinals, I don't think they did anything. And then when the meetings were over, literally the night the meetings were over, they traded for Edgar Renteria. So it kind of like Soto last night.
Yeah.
But
everybody's
what a waste
gone.
of 3 days for a lot of people.
You know what I'm sick of? There are some parents right now driving their kids to school. I talk to a lot of teachers. I deal with teachers, and I love teachers and the amount of work that they do in our schools to help young people be the best that they can be. You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of parents calling teachers about their kids' grades. Here's the thing, parents, and if your child is in the car with you and they are one of those children that say, oh, my teacher hasn't graded the work yet, they're lying. They're lying. Your sweet child lies. Your child actually turned the work in late. Therefore, the teacher that graded those papers for the kids that turned them in on time has already graded that work. Now, your teacher of your child will get to your son or daughter's grade when they feel like it. Your child is lying. They turned the work in late. They have no grade updated because they turned it in late. It's not the teacher's fault. Stop calling them and bothering them about your child. He or she sitting in the back seat, sitting next to you on your way to school. He lied. She lied. They turned it in late. I promise you, more time, 90% of the time, the assignment was due November 23rd. They turned it in November 28th. It's late. 5 days. Maybe they turned it in December 6th. 11 days. It's late. And therefore, the teacher will grade this assignment when the hell they feel like it. And you, sir, ma'am, parent, will wait as well as your child. That's all I have.
Teachers do not get enough credit for everything they do. And even the pay is not fair, all the different kind of stuff. But it always starts at home. It starts at home with your children, right? Like with assignments, with keeping up with things. It's on the parents to do that. The teachers can only enforce so much in the schools.
You ever heard of a kid maybe preventing their parent from seeing a report card?
Oh, yeah.
Randy,
that's when you could go get the report card before when it came in the mail. May or may not have happened. May or may not.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm sick of, guys? We talked about this earlier this week. CD and I did about there's some fans on social media, some Ohio State fans trying to downplay this Cotton Bowl, and there's even like this guy in town that's on like another radio station.
Charlie
He's
Marlowe.
from Ohio. Oh yeah, that guy. You know, I think he used to be on Fox 2 or something like that. But there's some fans really trying to downplay this Cotton Bowl against Mizzou, even calling it a Super Bowl. And we talked about it on Monday. I think you just have to change the narrative. How many Super Bowls has Mizzou played in this year where fans of the other teams tried to say, oh, this is just their Super Bowl? Guess what? A New Year's Six Bowl is a big deal. And Ohio State now, with the addition of Trip Trainum, they had Cal McCord, a quarterback, who also entered the transfer portal. That's like 13 players right now who have entered the transfer portal for Ohio State. I'm sorry Ohio State doesn't see this as a big deal, but it is a big deal to get the Cotton Bowl.
It is, and
it's a big deal for Missouri.
Well, it's the worst type of fan that doesn't appreciate winning. And Chuckles wants, when Ohio State loses to Michigan, he wants the coach fired. The worst fans in the world are the ones that are so entitled they think that, well, if we aren't playing for a national championship, it's not worth it, because then you just can't enjoy the sport that you're watching during the course of the season. Why even bother tuning in September, October, November? Why not just wait until the end of December, January 1st if you're going to be that way?
Oh, we already got a text in from the 636. Cotton Bowl means 0. It's an exhibition game, and it's Ohio State's backups.
That's
See,
fine.
already making excuses.
That's fine. And you know what? If that's the way they feel, I feel bad for them.
Well, I mean,
you know what? Don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Here's the issue. Ohio State was a team that was top 4 in the country, number 1, number 2, the entire season. They lost a tough game to their rival. They are out of the college football playoffs because of that tough game. It's hard to get kids excited about a bowl game when they feel like they should have been or could have been playing for a national championship. That's not Missouri's fault.
Then
Mizzou
and Ohio State should have declined then, right?
Well, no, that's not how that works. You're going to still
you can decline a bowl game. You can. You don't have to.
You're not going to decline the Cotton Bowl.
If you don't care about it and it's meaningless, why go?
No, there are kids that care about it on the team. They're
but
still
you just
there.
told me they don't. That they were 1, 2, 3, 4.
The ones that decided to opt out or transfer don't care. Yeah. But there are some younger players on that roster that have not had a chance to play, that have maybe played in limited roles, that will get an opportunity to play. It means something to them, the kids that will be back for next year, or some of the kids that are in their final year that won't play again. But overall, I'm sure there are a lot of Ohio State fans that are frustrated. How does Alabama jump us? It's a lot of questions that
more
take
tickets for Mizzou
place.
fans then. Mizzou sold out their allotment at 18 hours.
Should be excited.
And if Ohio State fans don't want to go, that's fine. If they don't like it, they don't have to go.
Well, and also if you want to play in the NFL, which I think is a lot of college football players' ultimate goal, right? Playing in a New Year's Six Bowl, that matters on your resume, right? When you're trying to entice an NFL team, if you're trying to get drafted, does it not?
Any game you get to play matters. So it doesn't matter if it's the Music City Bowl or any bowl. It just having an opportunity to put more film out and show your ability against another opponent always helps you. So it's going to help those young men that are playing in that game.
All right, let's get one or two texts from Matthew on the text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399.
Yo-ho! Sick of it. Jordan Walker being overlooked. He's going to be our best player by a wide margin next year. Start paying attention.
I don't think he's being overlooked.
Overlooking Jordan.
No, I don't think so. He's also very tall. I think that he overlooks people.
Yeah, it's hard to overlook.
Needs to switch to number 22, does he not? From 18 is not a great number. 22 is a great number.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
All due respect to 18.
Sick of it. OSU fans already pouting. They're taking their ball and going home, and the game's 3 weeks away.
Kind of sounds like it.
They're fine. But if I would hope that they just don't watch. If you don't have to pay attention. There's other things to do on the night of December 29th. So just don't watch. If you're an Ohio State fan,
Sick of it.
It's going to be embarrassing for you
Sorry.
to get drilled by Mizzou.
There
Sick
you
of
go.
it. The waste of time that was the winter meetings. They should have a trade deadline at the end of the winter meetings, and then you can't trade again until the start of the regular season.
I would say January 15th because you'd hate to have a situation where players couldn't sign as free agents. So maybe January 15th or February 1st, but not the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Matthew.
Oh, we got
Thank
cut
you
off.
very much for your text. Coming up, Yadi is officially back. What do you want to see him do for the Cardinals? That's next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. It was a good start for the St. Louis Blues last night as they jumped out to a 3-1 lead over the Vegas Golden Knights after the first period, but everything went poorly from there on in as they got hammered 5-0 for a 6-3 loss. They will be back in action on Friday evening. It's a 6 p.m. puck drop, which means your pregame show starts right here on 101 ESPN at 5 p.m. And last night also St. Louis Billikens facing off against Drake. They led at the half by 16, 41-25, but it all falls apart in the second half for them as well as they lose to Drake 75-69. Coming up this weekend in college basketball, the Fighting Illini face off against number Tennessee-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Cary versus Brook, 11 a.m. on CBS, and then it's Missouri versus Kansas on Saturday afternoon. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find a road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Yesterday that Yadier Molina has officially returned to the organization as a special assistant to President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak. Molina, quote, will provide invaluable help at the major league level as well as spend time with our minor league teams in his new role with the team. Brooke, Cary, Randy, what would you guys like to see? Brooke, starting with you, Yadier Molina's ultimate role this season to be, and obviously 2025 is a different animal altogether, but for 2024, how would you like to see him utilized?
Can he do everything?
I think so.
Can he be around a lot of times? I do want to point out one thing is that he will be, as you announced there, the special assistant to the president of baseball operations. Didn't somebody else have that same job title here recently?
Joe McEwing.
So Joe McEwing also is going to be the special assistant to the president of baseball operations. So what does that mean for Joe McEwing? I guess he still will be doing that. That's what some of the reporters were saying. He will still be doing that job because he's under contract. But it seems like, according to some of the reports yesterday, that Yadi will be in uniform in the dugout at times this season. So when he's around, I would love for him. I think he would be best suited helping the catchers, helping Wilson Contreras, helping Ivan Herrera of what that preparation looks like going into games, showing them, what the work they need to do with the pitchers, how to even build those relationships better with the pitchers, because in turn, not only does that help the catchers, but I feel like it will help the pitchers a lot too when you really need to settle in with the starting rotation so we don't have those same issues that we saw last season. So that's how I think he would be best suited.
I'm just intrigued to see how it plays out. I mean, if he's, like I said, in a suit one day and then in a uniform the next day, I don't know how. It's going to be intriguing because I think when you are a manager or a coach or in that dugout, in that clubhouse, it's something that needs to be, consistent every single day for the most part, because there are things that change, from day to day, week to week. And so you could be missing out on some vital information that you could get personally as opposed to secondhand if you aren't in the dugout. So I don't know how this all plays out. I don't know what this means for the future of Yadier Molina. I don't know what this means for the future of the St. Louis Cardinals in terms of where he's going to be and what he's going to do. But I do agree with you, Brooke. The amount of information that he can bring to a pitching staff, to a catcher that had a rough time last year in Wilson Contreras, just going through, the transition of coming from Chicago and being here and all of the things that were said to him. And then you have a younger catcher in Herrera who can assist as well. So it does help this team tremendously, but it's going to be intriguing just to see what role he exactly is in.
And Mo said that his role is not going to be, at the major league and minor league levels, simply catching specific, which is good. But I would hope his primary role is developing a template for Blake Shelton and the pitchers as to how to build a game plan for each game. Okay, so Yadi in spring training goes to Dusty Springfield and Contreras and says, okay, here's how we did it when I was here, when we won all the time. And I would hope that they are able to glean some of that great winning knowledge that he was able to access and provide over the course of the years.
You need to. And just watching Yadier Molina when he was working with the catchers, with everybody in spring training, I mean, he is truly a magnetic person. He's very quiet. I think a lot of people media-wise can attest to that. But the way that he's just able to command the attention of people, his resume, of course, speaks for itself. But just because you have that big resume doesn't mean that you have that charisma, that personality to really have people gravitate towards you. And Yadi has the ability to do that, which I think is what has helped him build that relationship with the pitchers, and maybe what kind of made the pitchers a little bit spoiled. So when you go from Yadi to another catcher that you haven't built all that up with, where Yadi made it so easy for the pitchers, of course you're going to have some things that do not go well. You can't have that pitch comm issue happen again next season where it can really divide the room again. I thought this was funny. Somebody put in on YouTube, can Yadi control the pitch comm from Puerto Rico? Is that possible?
That'd be nice.
That'd be very helpful. But I think Yadi being around helping, I don't think it's coincidence. And I know the Cardinals have made it very clear during these meetings. They say that clubhouse culture was not an issue. But then you're bringing in a lot of veteran presence, including having Yadier Molina back. You have Lance Lynn with his personality. He's like a bulldog. You have Kyle Gibson, a veteran personality. Sonny Gray, a fiery veteran personality. And now Yadi back. I don't think it's a coincidence that you're bringing around a lot of guys that can really corral a clubhouse better.
And I love the self-awareness of Mo in this instance. He said, Derek Gould wrote this today at STLtoday.com. Mozeliak said the Cardinals underestimated how much the absence of Molina and Albert Pujols would change the clubhouse from 2022 to 2023. Coming out of the last play season, the front office prioritized adding those veteran presences that you talked about, Brooke, if not the specific presences that retired. So having Yadi as a presence in that clubhouse, and he's not so far removed that he doesn't garner a ton of respect in that room. He can make a difference. I wish he was going to be there on a regular basis, but I think his limited presence, and especially presence in spring training to help develop a game plan for Oli and the coaching staff, will be a huge benefit.
Can I just say that the fact that you didn't realize the importance of actual people in comparison to looking at a piece of paper and saying, well, the analytics tell me that if he has this WAR over this number of games and this batting average, we should be equivalent to what. It's not how it works, man. People matter. And when you have a player, what you said with the charisma of a Yadier Molina, the Riz, is that what they call it now?
The Riz. That's the word of the year, by the way. Yeah.
Of a Yadier Molina. You have a guy that is able to, be in a lot of places at the same time and help a lot of players at the same time. And so that is important to a locker room, to a clubhouse, to a team, having veteran leadership that has people willing to listen and buy in. If your two superstar players at the corners aren't talkers, then you have to have someone that is a talker.
And, Kerry, I wonder if that's where the Cardinals misread things. If they thought that Arenado and Goldie were just being deferential to Pujols and Molina and didn't realize that they wouldn't rise to the occasion as leaders.
Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt really kind of strike me more just observing. This is what I've observed. They're more lead by example guys. Haven't you noticed, even if you listen to Sonny Gray in his press conference where he's just talking about that laser focus, he's not going to make friends with, guys on the other side, which, I mean, of course, but still like hearing that competitive nature he has. We had Kyle Gibson on. He's willing to talk ball like whenever you want. You can tell that he is a very charismatic guy as well. And then Lance Lynn, all the stories I've heard about Lance Lynn, I mean, that's a guy who does not mess around whatsoever. And then you bring Yadi back in the fold. I think that those were voices that were really needed. Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt are leaders, just a different type of leader that I think maybe they're looking for something or people who are a little bit more vocal.
If you are the opposition, you don't want to fight the Cardinals, but you especially don't want to get in a fight on those nights where Yadi's in the dugout.
Oh, no.
You should.
I can't wait for that. When does that happen?
That will be fun. I want to see it. Will it be the Cubs or the Reds that the Cardinals get in the fight with?
I always think about the Reds one, for sure.
Johnny Cueto.
Yeah.
Johnny Cueto. So Yadi is back, and that's a good thing.
Isn't the rule that if there's another guy with neck tattoos, everyone just has to step to the side and they just duke it out on the pitcher's mound?
One-on-one. Yep. That's the way it should be. Yadi is back. Coming up, get your text in for Take It or Leave It, 314-399-9646. 314-399-YO-HO. TIOLI is next on 101 ESPN. Hey, Christmas is right around the corner, and with the holiday being just a couple of weeks away, take care of your holiday shopping with a gift that your family will love, not just this year, but for years to come. And you can do it in a matter of a couple of clicks with a gift card from mysoundstory.com. Sound Story is really cool. It's a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by your choice of our professional interviewers, says the broadcaster, including myself or Tim McKernan or Anthony Stalter. It's a conversation that includes their experiences from childhood and career and meeting that special someone. And with Sound Story, you or your loved one's voices and stories are saved for your family forever. And now you and your siblings can go in on a gift certificate for your parents and get them a Sound Story at mysoundstory.com. And for a limited time, enter the promo code ESPN and get 20% off that Sound Story gift certificate. Imagine being able to listen to a podcast interview with your grandparents or your mom or your dad. It really is amazing. Just go to mysoundstory.com and enter the promo code ESPN to get this holiday special of 20% off a gift certificate for Sound Story. That's promo code ESPN at mysoundstory.com. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Want to put it out there? If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Carrie, Randy, Matthew, the text line, you for Take It or Leave It on 101 ESPN. Guys, Deshaun Jackson, who just retired from the NFL, made more than $91 million over the course of his career, says his financial ambitions are much greater than the $91 million. He says he wants to be on the same level as Magic Johnson. Take it or leave it. Maybe not.
Randy, he's talking.
Randy.
Man. He's talking about philanthropic ideas and working in communities and maybe getting Starbucks and houses
Take it or leave
around the country.
Take it or leave it. Deshaun Jackson goes to the Starbucks people and says, you know what? I'm kind of like Magic. I want to do what he did with his name. And take it or leave it. Starbucks says, who? Who are you?
Oh, Randy.
I'm just saying that I think Magic may have been he might have had a little bit more star power than Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Definitely did. There we go. So, I don't know, you all probably have been paying attention to the saga of the New York Jets. They have been just kind of wandering around throughout the season aimlessly on football fields every Sunday. Their starting quarterback, who became their backup quarterback, who became their third quarterback, and now they want him to be their starting quarterback again in Zach Wilson, initially said, "No, I don't want to do it." And then he said, "Okay, I'll do it. Take it or leave it." I wouldn't want to play behind that offensive line either.
Take it.
Yeah, no, I would take it. But I mean, it sounds like he is going to come back. I just want to understand
He's
where
the
those
starter
reports
now.
came from, which it came from very credible reporters, by the way. This wasn't just something that was thrown around on social media. It definitely came from somebody. So where did those reports come from?
That's what Aaron Rodgers is mad about, because he knows that the reports are accurate, that these writers are not just making stuff up. And
No.
Rodgers said, we got to find out who's leaking,
Somebody's
and we got to get
leaking
rid of them.
information.
There you
You're
go.
not going to get rid of them. I don't know.
But you got to find out who it is.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either.
Yeah.
I mean, reporters do a really good job of keeping their sources
Yeah.
close to the vest. That's the only way they're going to be able to keep getting information.
Unless their job's on the line.
What you need to do
Is
is
that how that works?
give fake information to one person. That's how you do it.
Oh.
That is how it usually works. But you have to
Shohei
be.
Ohtani needs to hear that.
Yeah, it's 52 other men in that locker room. You got to figure out.
Well, and it could be front office people, too.
There you go. You never know.
Take it or leave it, guys. I don't know if you saw this story yesterday, but a former Jaguars employee was accused of stealing more than $22 million from the team. Take it or leave it. You kind of want to see if they have any job openings.
Yeah.
22 million? How does that
Use
even
some of
happen?
the money for a condo, a Tesla, cryptocurrency. That probably didn't go well. Chartering private jets, luxury hotel stays, a country club membership, and luxury wristwatches.
What?
If you're
what
gonna
was
do
his
it,
job?
Do it big.
do it.
Yeah.
What was his job that they didn't
He's
notice?
a financial employee.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, this is a little weird. He's
Over-
taking private jets all over the place."
Over a four-year period. 22
How?
million.
Very impressive.
Yeah. It's nice.
Now everybody wants to go work for
Well
the
done.
NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Take it or leave it, you're more impressed by Bradford stealing $50 million from the Rams.
He gave it to them. Give me everything you got. Give it all to me. I want it all. Sam, is that you? No. It's not Sam.
Oh man!
All you had to do was just, move 15 yards away from him. He would have missed you.
Oh, probably. There you go. Yep.
Oh, you know who did that, by the way? Remember Dante Hall? Dante Hall signed a contract with the Rams and then decided he didn't want to play, so he wouldn't do anything. He would fake injuries and everything. Man, what a dog.
Good. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he was. He just didn't want to play. That's fine. His career was over, and he just wanted to come in and steal a paycheck, and he did.
It's unfortunate when that
The
happens.
human joystick was playing a different game.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Take it or leave it. The best STL clubhouse presence ever. Orlando Cepeda. 2 years, 2 pennants.
It's pretty good.
That's could be happenstance. That happens. It's good. You do want guys that know how to win, that have won on your roster. Guys that are leaders, men. It's hard.
Take it or leave it. It would require a total organizational change in philosophy for Yadi to become the manager of this Cardinals team.
I will take that.
Ooh.
Yes, I will take
I
that.
will take it. Because Yadi's going to do it his way.
Well,
that's for sure.
I don't know. I don't know if it will take it. Yeah, but part of me wants to leave it because it feels like even if they don't take to it, they're gonna have to take to it. Like, you may not want to do this, but if you were to hire him as your manager, he's gonna do what the hell he wants to do.
He's the manager, and at 2:00 before the first game of the season, the analytics guys come downstairs with their suits and their tie. They aren't wearing ties. One of them is, and they say, "Okay, here's the way this game's going to go." Yadi says, "What you talking about? What Mang? What you talking about?" And they said, "Well, we script out every game. We've got these numbers that you have to abide by. Can you do this?"
Hand that to me. I'm gonna show you what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. This is a paper that. Yeah. Yeah, he'll say,
Cash.
He'll say, "Poppy, I don't have time for this." And he'll kick the suits out, and they can go back upstairs. Yep.
That's 100% what would happen.
Thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
Have a
Yadi
good
would
day.
just say nothing. He would just give you the stare. He'd give you the stare. Words would not even be said. He would just give you the stare.
Yeah.
I think this text, Randy, is coming from ESPN Plus's Bradford Doolittle. Take it or leave it. The prospects the Padres got from the Yankees for Soto end up being better than the prospects they gave up to acquire Soto.
I think I'm going to leave that.
That's kind of like they won the trade.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that with Abrams and Gore, and their best prospect isn't even up with them yet, I would suggest that, no, that will not be the case, that the Nationals will be the ultimate Juan Soto winners. Although if the Yankees re-sign Soto, which is certainly a possibility, that's a possibility. That could happen too. But no, I don't think that I would be stunned if, in the long term, the Padres would wind up winning this. And by the way, James Wood is the other outfielder that the Nationals got from the Padres in the Soto trade, and he's apparently just a stud. And so is Robert Hassel III. Top 3 prospects for the Nationals are all people that they got from that trade.
Take it or leave it. Toriano Pride is just the first domino. St. Louis area players are going to flock back to Mizzou through the transfer portal after this season.
I'm going to take that.
Ooh, I'm going to take it. Oh, you're going to take that?
Yeah, Toriano is a really good player.
Yes.
Good player in high school, good player, good kid too. So happy for him to be able to come home and family be able to come see him a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. And that's huge for Mizzou and Eli Drinkwitz to be able to land him.
Yeah, got to replace a couple of NFL cornerbacks, right? So you might as well get another NFL cornerback. Got to get another one in the portal too.
Now find a running back.
I'm sure they have their eyes on a lot of players that they'll be able to. This transfer portal is absurd, man. I was listening to some. Purdue has 24 kids in the transfer portal.
Oh my God!
Like a fourth of your team, a third of your team. Like it's
a 50% jump from last year.
It's ridiculous, man. And that transfer portal is
got to have some rules.
Well, I mean, the rules you can get in there if you want to, but players need to know that it's not a guarantee that you're going to get signed. There are so many kids that go into the portal and don't get signed. And the moment you go into the portal, your scholarship for the current school is gone.
Right.
So you can't go back. I actually know a kid, this was some years ago, where he jumped into the portal, didn't get signed anywhere, and went to class in the second semester, and his mother got a bill and didn't realize, what the hell is this? What is going on? Yeah. You have to be aware of your situation and aware of all of the possibilities if you decide to make that leap.
How about a rule that you can jump, but then the second time you try to jump, you have to sit out a year?
I mean,
because what's happening with the portal is
if it's the second time, they're going to be seniors by that time, and they're going to be, juniors or seniors later in their career.
But I'm just saying, if you want to preserve the product, if you're college football and you want to preserve the product and have a level of continuity, I would think it'd be somewhat of a deterrent for kids to say, I'm just like the JT Daniels who wind up going to 4 schools in 5 years. That's just stupid. And if you're a team, like you lose 24 guys, now Dion wanted that to happen, but if you're a team that wants to build some continuity and you lose 24 guys, you're screwed. So maybe you lose half that many if a player has transferred already once and then they have to sit out a year of sports the next year.
You figure something out.
Yeah, but you got to preserve the product because the product is it's flagging because of this.
But at the end of the day, they are adults that are allowed to make their own decisions, and you kind of have to live with the consequences, right, of your own decisions. So whether it's a good decision or not, we all did that in college, right? Like we made decisions that didn't work out, but it was a hard life lesson, and that's what this seems to be in this situation with the transfer portal.
And when you look at the guys that Mizzou is losing, they're probably pretty happy about it, actually, because none of the really important Mizzou players are in the transfer portal at the moment.
Yeah.
That is Take It or Leave It on 101 ESPN. Coming up, our Fresh Take, our brief winter meetings wrap up coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, you've heard me talk about Gloria Lou for a long time now. With a successful track record of 20 years in the industry, she guarantees that you will get comfort and stability and rest easy, knowing you're going to get the most money for your home in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Gloria has a great program in place because she already has buyers. She's able to guarantee the sale of your home in writing because Gloria has, over the course of 20 years, put buyers in her exclusive database looking to buy in your neighborhood and in your price range. That's how Gloria nets you the most money and creates the highest demand, many times with multiple offers, which means more money in your pocket. Gloria sells for more and sells faster when compared to your average agent, and Gloria is not your average agent. She's St. Louis local real estate authority with 20 years of experience, hundreds of homes sold in just the past 12 months, and the only agent I trust to sell my home. Call Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Opening Drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by a fresh perspective on the day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
With the five that they have in position right now, I think they're good enough to win the NL Central. I don't think they're good enough to compete with Philly. I don't think they're good enough to compete with the Dodger team with Shohei. I don't know that they're good enough to compete with the Braves team. I really think that, I know this is going to make Cardinal fans mad, but I really think they're throttling down. They think they have their starting pitching, and they're going to focus. They're focusing on the bullpen right now.
That is MLB.com's John Denton talking about the Cardinals at the winter meetings, and I don't disagree with what he says. Their actions seem to indicate that they're happy with the moves that they've made with the starting rotation, that they admit that they need to go out and get a couple, or at least one relief pitcher. They did take one in the Rule 5 draft yesterday from the Boston organization, a young right-hander by the name of Fernandez. But my guess would be that the Cardinals, as John Denton put, are throttling down here. And the baseball winter meetings are concluded now, so those face-to-face meetings with agents and other teams aren't going to take place anymore. I kind of think, and this was reported last night, that the White Sox might be asking a little bit too much for Dylan Cease.
That seems to be the case.
Yeah, and if I'm the Cardinals, I think based on my recent history with prospects, I would go there. I don't think I would have much trouble getting the is for the might be.
What is too much, in your opinion? What would be, I mean, obviously, I think 4 players on this roster would be too much. Walker, Wynn, Goldie, Arenado. But other than that, is there a too much?
Well, the reports seem to be that they're wanting top prospects, right? So would that be, I mean, a Thomas Ajayce, a Tink Hence? I mean, there's a lot of different things that they could be asking for. But if they're reporting top prospects, then it seems like a lot of the guys that maybe the Cardinals see as a part of the future of their organization. So I do get that to some extent. And maybe the Cardinals were kind of hoping it would be a guy who's currently on this roster because you still have this outfield logjam that they have to figure out. They're probably hoping they could package that maybe with some prospects, but not a lot of your top prospects, or I mean
not
a few of your exactly.
And NBC Sports Chicago reporting that one of the packages that they asked for from the Reds were the top 4 top prospects, including right-handed pitcher Rhett Lauder and right-handed pitcher Chase Petty, number 9 and 11 position prospects as well. And the Sox, according to Bruce Levine, would get more as the market shakes out. So if you're the Cardinals and you are asked for, let's just say your top 2 pitching prospects. Let's just right now, 2 that you have drafted and brought into the organization, Graceffo and McGreevy, plus 2 position prospects that have not made the major leagues yet. Would you go there? Would you do it?
Graceffo and McGreevy and two other prospects that have not made the majors yet.
Yeah.
So would that be like a Victor Scott, Chase Davis?
Let's put Victor Scott in there. And it doesn't have to be Chase Davis. Let's
Did you say Sajayce?
They don't want to. Let's go Sajayce.
Okay, yes.
So let's say that. Would you do that?
Sajayce.
That's tough. Which I know I'm sure there's some people who are listening who are like, "But you were ready to give up Gorman for Dylan Cease. Why are you mulling over this a little bit more?"
I probably would do that.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it's hard because I was kind of hoping that maybe you could have packaged some of these position players that you still have when it comes to the outfield depth. I was kind of hoping that maybe that could be a part of this more than anything. But the top prospects always hard to part with, but you haven't seen them in the majors yet, so they're even a huge question mark of if they'll ever shake out. With Dylan Cease, if you're saying you want to win in 2024, then you have to figure out a way to get him there, even if it's at the expense of those top prospects.
We had our friend from ESPN on earlier, Jesse Rogers, towards the end of the season, and I asked him if he thought that Gorman and Graceffo would do it. And he said, yeah, I think that would be good. Gorman, Graceffo, and then out of your top 30, I think that there's people in the organization that believe McGreevy is their best starting pitching prospect.
Yes. And with Dylan Cease, here's the thing is young, and so you'll be able to bring him in. You have a lot of one-year deals. We're talking about the age of the starting rotation. You have to figure out even just winning next season, but then even past that, Dylan Cease can be a part of that starting rotation moving forward past next season.
It takes me a long time to puke with Dylan Cease. My puke point is way down the line.
What would it take to make you puke for Dylan Cease?
Well, if we're going to go, I'm not including Walker and Wynn. If they're going to ask for Walker or Wynn, I'm not going there. Would I do Tink Hence? Yes. Would I do Tekoa Roby? Yes. Would I do Graceffo? Yes. Would I do Zerpe? You know why? Let me give you a couple of reasons why. Alex Reyes, Jack Flaherty. I can go through history. I can go through Carlos Martinez. I can go through Andy Rincon. I can go through John Fulgham. I can go through even Matt Morris. Would I have given up Matt Morris? Yeah, because he got hurt. Now, he was great. He wound up being great. But I can go through Cardinal history of young pitchers that Anthony Reyes was as highly regarded as, not as highly regarded as Alex Reyes, but Anthony Reyes was supposed to be a front-of-the-rotation guy. And here's the big thing, though. If you're the Cardinals over the last decade, weren't you supposed to spend the last 5 years with Alex Reyes and Jack Flaherty be in the front of your rotation?
So that was the plan.
Yeah. So will I roll the dice on those guys failing rather than succeeding? I will, for a guy that's already succeeded.
We're already being told we're crazy right now.
Oh,
Somebody said, y'all are crazy. Not a chance.
That's right. That's right. Because the Cardinals still, until they don't do it, they hoard their top prospects. They didn't hoard their top prospects when they made the trades for Arenado and Goldschmidt. But yes, they do hoard their top prospects. Hell, they're having trouble finding a home for Tyler O'Neill, whom they've loved for a long time as a player. So, yeah, I would be very surprised if the Cardinals would make that deal. And as John Denton said, they seem satisfied.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is that you have to figure out the starting rotation, just not set next season, but moving forward. And right. Dylan Cease can provide that because, I mean, with these one-year deals, who knows how they'll pan out. And the Cardinals will be in this exact same position after next season. So possibly. At least having a young guy like Dylan Cease there in your starting rotation takes away one of those things.
Well, and by the way, we should note that the Cubs appear to be the front runners for the services of Tyler Glasnow now.
Oh. See?
So they want starting pitching too.
Moving.
We'll see what the Cardinals are. We think that they're done for the offseason. They're probably not going to make any more decisions or any more trades. And I think we kind of heard that possibly this is a team that can get them to the trade deadline and see where they are and then maybe make a deal for a Dylan Cease depending on where things are.
Yeah.
Like you want to see, I mean, I think spring training is going to be important for some of those younger guys as well. See who they are, what they are. Are they capable of making the team and helping in 2024?
That's your fresh take on 101 ESPN. Coming up, yesterday we asked who the Blues whipping boy is, and it was kind of a tie, right, between Jordan Kyrou and Torrey Krug. Mm-hmm. Today, who's the Cardinals whipping boy? And who's deciding who the whipping boy is? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, I want you to learn about Ambassador Midwest Floor. If you need flooring for your home, or if you just want to maintain the value of your home by getting new flooring, go to Ambassador Midwest Floor in Chesterfield Valley and Glendale. Find them on the web at ambassadorfloor.com, and your family will be floored when they see their new floors on your digital photo frame. Here's how you get it. Buy a gift card for $500 or more now and get an extra 10% bonus when you buy. And my friends at Ambassador Midwest Floor are going to have a gift-wrapped digital photo frame filled with photo ideas that you can gift at the holidays. And you can show your significant other or your family the look of what your home is going to look like with maybe luxury vinyl, or maybe you want to go with some new carpet, or maybe you just want to go with some tile. Whatever you want to go with, they'll have it on their huge showroom floor at Ambassador Midwest Floor. They have all of the famous brands, Stanton and Armstrong and many more. They're great people to deal with. You'll love their showrooms, and you'll be amazed by how much they have and what you have to choose from. You'll find the absolute perfect flooring for your home at Ambassador Midwest Floor. Find them now on the web at ambassadorfloor.com. and earn that moniker. You don't have to be a good player that winds up being unfairly maligned by the fan base. And I thought last year, Gio Gallegos earned the title of whipping boy. He got whipped a lot by Cardinal fans, and he was not that good. Gio wasn't. I think the other one that maybe is unfairly maligned here because there are things out of his control that are hurting him is Dylan Carlson. I don't think that we as a fan base, as a group, realize how talented Dylan Carlson is, and we've made a judgment on him because of injuries over the last couple of years. Scary thing for me is if Dylan Carlson winds up somewhere else and is able to become healthy, I think he becomes a really good player. And I don't think the Cardinal fans recognize the talent level that he possesses.
I think that people do, because I have definitely seen a lot of fans who feel like he hasn't gotten a fair opportunity, even despite the injuries, but some of the other stuff that has happened, especially we saw in this last season. But I think that he's more of maybe even the Cardinals whipping boy, because they're the ones who seem to go from cold dead hands to he's fallen out of favor so quickly in the organization eyes. But I feel like the whipping boy, the Cardinals whipping boy, is Tyler O'Neill.
So inside the organization.
Yes, the Cardinals.
The Cardinals whipping boy.
I'm not saying Cardinals fans. I'm saying the Cardinals whipping boy.
So John Mozeliak and Oli Marmol have decided, you know what? We don't want anything to do with this guy. Okay, so I think that's fair. I do.
I think it's pretty clear. I mean, it's crystal clear
too,
based off of their comments, especially. It seems like they're trying to find any way to move him. I mean, everything that happened last season, you had the kerfuffle with Oli and Tyler O'Neill, and then you have the comments from Oli at the end of the season about weeding out these bad guys. And then you have Ryan Helsley, who played that sound recently of what he said on Foul Territory, which kind of played into what Oli said. And then at the trade deadline, they make it clear they might as well have put up a sign that said, Tyler O'Neill, give us some offers, take him away from us, essentially.
If you're going to do all that, and baseball people know what other teams are saying, if you're going to denigrate a guy to that level, publicly even, early in the season, why would you tender him when you've given everybody the answers to the test?
Because they thought that he would be valuable to other people. Not valuable here, because he does have all of the potential in the world. He's shown it in spurts and flashes. And again, last season, he showed you during a 2-3 week span where you're like, man, this guy could be a MVP, top 10 MVP candidate. But then he got hurt. And then he said, oh, my knees hurt. I can't play on turf. And so you have a guy with all of the ability in the world. And that's how I feel about Dylan Carlson. I don't think you should be or I don't think you should be afraid to trade away a guy based on his performance here. Sometimes it's just not the right spot, right environment. And if he does go elsewhere and have a successful career, you tip your cap and say, man, I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. You couldn't get it done here for whatever reason, but you're able to get it done elsewhere.
And here's the thing. I don't disagree with a word that you said, but the Cardinals devalued him with their words. And I haven't sensed that with, and I might be wrong here, I have not sensed that with Carlson, where they have shown outward disdain for Carlson's effort or ability to get on the field or desire to get on the field. I have sensed that with Tyler O'Neill, and that's why I wonder why they tell everybody, yeah, we don't really think he's hustling. We don't think a lot of him, but we still want you to trade for him.
But when Dylan Carlson returned from injury, who was the Cardinals' starting center fielder? Still, even when Dylan Carlson came back.
Tommy Edman.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's the Cardinals kind of insinuating that they see more value in Tommy Edman than they did in Dylan Carlson. So maybe they weren't using their words, but their actions showed something different.
Use your words.
I think, Dylan Carlson, I think, again, is a good player. Tyler O'Neill, he is, you don't have to say outwardly that he's not hustling around third base. We got eyes.
Yeah.
We could see it. So it's not like it was a secret to the other franchises or the other organizations when Oli said that's not good enough for us. Every team that watched that play or that moment or went back to look at it and said, yeah, that's not as fast as I've ever seen Tyler O'Neill run. I've seen him run at top speed before, and he would have made it home on that play. So for me, calling out a player is not as egregious as I think some people make it out to be. Because when you're in the locker room, when you're in the clubhouse, when you're watching film, when you're going and studying yourselves and what you did in the game before or what you need to do for the next game, you're looking at yourself and taking a critical, a view of things and saying, hey, this needs to be better. That's not good enough. Every man in that room knows it. And so if people are you would be doing your fans a disservice to think that they're not intelligent enough to watch and see that wasn't a hustle play by Tyler O'Neill.
I thought last year Adam Wainwright unfairly took the brunt of being the whipping boy. People say, he's stealing money. He shouldn't have come back. He should have retired.
All of Cardinals fans.
Right.
I felt like it.
I've started to learn there's a difference between real Cardinals fans, and I think this goes for every team, right? I feel like there's a difference between real Cardinals fans and then the social media Cardinals fans. So I don't know if I truly believe that everybody felt like that, but definitely if you looked at social media, I mean, Adam Wainwright was on our show and talked about how he had to kind of step away from social media for a little bit because it was just becoming too much. We saw on the text line people saying he was stealing money from the organization like he was that Jaguars employee or something. I mean... that's what I don't know. I think that's a good one because you definitely saw kind of the hate come from that last season.
We are missing it because the whipping boy for the St. Louis Cardinals is still and was all last year Oli Marmol.
Yep.
There is no other name on the roster in the organization. It's Oli.
What about the POBO?
I don't think he gets it more than Oli did last year. Just the fact that they were every single night, he's done. He needs to be fired. It's not his fault that the damn reliever came in and gave up 3 hits. He didn't have that on his sheet when he decided to put that person in. And for him, each night it was they were taking turns. They were like, I'll do it tonight. God, hold my beer. I got this one. And so you never knew which direction to go based on how poorly the players were performing night in and night out. But he was the one that kept getting the calls, hey, he needs to be gone. He needs to be out of here.
That's the thing is, when you have a 91-loss season, everybody's going to look at who's in charge, right? So that's going to be on Mozeliak. That's going to be on Oli Marmol. But then there were so many things that just happened last season that should have not have gotten out into the public. Going back to that Tyler O'Neill situation, I 100% agree with what you're saying about we've all seen managers and coaches call out certain players. Craig Berube does it all the time. But then you could tell that there was a personal rift there because there was times that other players also were not doing their part. There was times that Nolan Arenado was kind of loafing it last season. We saw that, but then you didn't see the same response from Oli Marmol into the media with those same comments. It was very obvious that there was personal ties there. And with Oli, I think that he understands that is part of the job. I think that if you spoke to him about it, he understands why fans are not happy. It comes with the territory, especially when you have a season that bad happen and it's under your watch. You're going to look at Oli. You're going to look at John Mozeliak. You're going to even look at the veteran players and young players in that clubhouse because something did not work out, and that's inexcusable. So, of course, everybody's going to be looking for answers of who to blame there.
And Oli coming back, and this is just a fact. It's not a shot, but the last Cardinal manager that lost 90 games and came back the next season was Rogers Hornsby in 1917. The team lost 93 games in 1916. He comes back in 17. Otherwise, no other Cardinal manager that lost 90 games since then, 1917, has survived a 90-win season and come back the next year.
In fairness, Oli Marmol, Hall of Fame level player. So, you give him the same kind of, same
same
situation.
Hornsby.
Yeah, a little rope. Yeah, a little rope because it was Rogers freaking Hornsby.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Fair enough.
You know what? He's hopefully, and by the way, like 1990, Yadi retired and never managed again. The 1978 team, that was Ken Boyer. Hold on, let me go back to. Where was it? I know. Here we go. 69 and 93. Vern Rapp started that season and was fired during the season, so he's the manager of record. So, yeah, there's not much precedent. 1976, Red Schoendienst was the manager. They lost 90 games, and he didn't return the next year. So, yeah, this is a break from Cardinal tradition, and hopefully it winds up being a great move because, as Mo said, he's still bullish on Oli, who's very young, still the youngest manager in baseball. Hopefully, Oli can turn things around and get him going this year and be the Cardinal manager for 30 years.
We'll see.
Yep, win more games than Tony.
Yeah, we got to win more games than you did last year. Let's start there.
That's true. Let's start with that.
Please.
It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got the fight. Matthew, do you need a fight or do you have one?
Yes, we do.
You need to text in then to 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO with your name and the word fight, and perhaps Matthew will pick you to challenge me in the fight next on 101 ESPN. Kids, the holiday season is here, and you need your house to be in perfect shape for anybody who's going to visit. And that means you need to get in touch with Hoffman Brothers at HoffmanBros.com or give them a call at 314-664-3011. My friends at Hoffman Brothers have been doing great work for a long time in St. Louis. They're a proud Mitsubishi Electric heating and air conditioning elite contractor, and they're kind of your North Star for home repairs. They can do it all. Heating and air conditioning, obviously. You need to get your furnace checked out for the winter months, but they can fix clogged drains. They can help with replacing or fixing outlets. They will provide lighting if you're going to change fixtures in your whole home electrical panel. And don't forget about your appliances. They will get used in abundance this holiday season. And if you need them fixed or replaced, Hoffman Brothers can fix them. They can repair or replace any appliance. And for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, drain, sewer, water heater, electrical, or appliance needs, call Hoffman Brothers 314-664-3011 or make your appointment for your furnace today at HoffmanBros.com.
This is Rocc here with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night, the Blues started off great against the Vegas Golden Knights. Didn't finish it, though. After a 3-1 lead at the end of the first, they got hammered 5-0 over the last two periods for a 6-3 loss. They'll be back in action on Friday, facing off against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Back to a regular starting time, 6 p.m. puck drop, which means it's a 5 p.m. pregame show right here on 101 ESPN. Also last night, St. Louis Billikens jumped out to a lead of their own by 16, 41-25 at half over Drake, but they fall 75-69 for the final. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Preston. Preston, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing wonderful. Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
I guess as ready as I'll ever be.
All right, here we go. Who holds the all-time Major League Baseball record with 399 home runs as a catcher? Is it Pudge Rodriguez, Johnny Bench, or Mike Piazza?
We'll go Mike Piazza.
The NBA's MVP award is now named after five-time winner Michael Jordan. Kareem is the all-time leader with 6, but who is the only other player to match MJ with 5? Is it Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, or Bill Russell?
I'll go Bill Russell.
The 1999 Open Championship featured the largest comeback in golf major history, with this golfer coming back from 10 strokes back to win in an eventual 3-man playoff. Is it Justin Leonard, Mark O'Meara, or Paul Lowry?
We'll go Justin Leonard.
Besides Pistol Pete Maravich, there is only one other player in college basketball history to score more than 33 points per game across their whole career. Which eventual NBA legend did it? Is it Larry Bird, Oscar Robertson, or Elvin Hayes?
I'll go Oscar Robertson.
All right, we will double-check the score, and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Preston, how you feel?
Not great.
No? Okay. Well, again, it's tougher when you're in the fire, in the midst of it, as opposed to just calling in and listening. I mean, just listening on the radio. Hopefully, it's better than you think. Randy came in. He got a whole bag of grapes. You get those from Snooks, Randy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Big old bag of grapes.
Randy, say hello to Preston.
Preston, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Randy, you ready?
Ready.
Who holds the all-time Major League Baseball record with 399 home runs as a catcher?
I'm saying that it's 399?
Yes.
Almost 400.
Almost.
You think they were all legit?
Legit as in going over the fence, or
Yeah, well, they
legit
did go
as
over the
in
fence.
legit as in enhanced?
Enhanced.
Maybe.
So Johnny Bench hit 389 home runs.
Okay.
But I think Mike Piazza may be the guy that holds the all-time record for home runs by a catcher.
So you're saying they're not legit? Potentially.
I just asked the question.
Okay.
He's in the Hall of Fame. The writers who set that standard about whether or not somebody used, they have set the standard that he didn't.
Well, there you go. If they said it, then it must be true.
Yep.
It must be true.
Yep.
How about that? The NBA's MVP award is now named after five-time winner Michael Jordan. Kareem is the all-time leader with 6, but who is the only other player to match MJ with 5?
5 most valuable player awards. I'm going to roll the dice on it being Bill Russell.
All right. The 1999 Open Championship featured the largest comeback in golf major history, with this golfer coming back from 10 strokes back to win in an eventual 3-man playoff.
I think I know this, CD, but I'm going to do the lifeline just in case.
Justin Leonard?
I don't think so.
Mark O'Meara? Paul Lowry?
Paul Lowry was the name that came to mind for me. I don't know why, but hopefully that's the one because I'm going to go with Paul Lowry. Final answer.
Besides Pistol Pete Maravich, there's only one other player in college basketball history to score more than 33 points per game across their whole career. Which eventual NBA legend did it?
33 a game. Pistol Pete was one of them. Hersey Hawkins never wound up being an NBA legend, so I'm not going to go with him. Bradley, he could shoot it, man.
It's a good deep cut, Randy.
Oh, thank you. I think okay, they didn't have the three-pointer back in the 60s, but Pete Maravich didn't play with the three-pointer. I'm going to try 33 per game over the course of his career. I'm going with a big man here. It's either going to be Kareem or Wilt. I think I'll go with Wilt. Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt the Stilt.
All right, this is a very close fight. So close, in fact, we got to go to a tiebreaker. Ooh. All right, the rules of the tiebreaker are simple, Preston. I will read out the question. We will give Randy Carricker a moment to write down his answer. We will then get your answer audibly, and whoever is closest to the pin is going to be the winner of this fight. Do you understand those rules, Preston?
Yep.
Okay, Randy Carricker, do you understand the rules?
I understand the rules.
Do you have paper?
I have paper.
Okay, so here's how this is going to work.
I got a pen that works too.
You're going to your answer is going to be 3 numbers.
Okay.
And there's going to be a decimal point after the first number, but then I'm going to need 2 numbers after the decimal point.
3.14.
It's a great example of what your number should look like with this answer.
Hi.
What is the highest per game block total in an NBA season? That is a qualified finisher. What is the highest per game block total in an NBA season for one player? So I'm going to need
per game.
Total. What is the highest per game block total in an NBA season? And again, your answer should be blank point blank blank is how you should phrase your answer. The highest per game block total in a single NBA season. Just a moment, Preston. Randy Carricker is writing down his guess. Okay, Randy Carricker has his guess.
Okay.
Preston, what is your guess, sir?
I'm going to go with 4.23.
I'm going to do a little quick math here, Carrie. I actually legitimately have to do real math here because this one's actually kind of tricky. This one, I thought maybe it would be a little bit closer, but you guys are like a hair away from each other on this one. So I got to do this math really quick. Yeah,
he said 4 point.
He said 4.23. Randy Carricker, what was your guess?
7.11. Ooh.
Okay,
do we need to go to a second tiebreaker?
We do not. We have a winner after I pulled off the math, which, as you can know, can be very, very tricky for some people.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Especially in this room. Mathing is not a thing that
we're not the best at mathing. So we have a winner in today's fight. Was it Preston on this Thursday taking down Randy Carricker with the tiebreaker, or does Megamind roll on with another victory? Ring that bell.
The winner and new champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
Well, that's why it's close to the pin, just by the skin of your teeth on that one, Preston. You were 1.33 off. Randy Carricker was 1.55 off of the total. Mark Eaton in the late 80s finished the season with a 5.56 blocks per season, the highest ever per game total in an NBA season. So again, Preston 1.33 away with 4.23 guess. Randy Carricker 1.55 away with his 7.11 guess for blocks per game. So a 3-3 tie took us to the tiebreaker, and Preston, you win the fight today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Awesome.
Good job, Preston.
Your teeth, that was impressive. Let's go through those answers. The all-time MLB record for home runs as a catcher, legit or not, 399 by Mike Piazza. The NBA's MVP award now named after 5-time winner Michael Jordan. Kareem has 6, and is MJ and Bill Russell with 5 apiece. The 1999 Open Championship featured the largest comeback in golf major history, with this golfer coming back from 10 strokes to win an eventual 3-man playoff. The 3-man playoff was Paul Lowry, Justin Leonard, and Jean Van de Velde. It was, in fact, Paul Lowry who came out with the comeback victory. And besides Pistol Pete Lee Maravich. It's MVC legend Oscar Robertson at Cincinnati with 33.8, the only other player across their career. But an incredible pull from Randy in one of the 8 guys who've averaged over 30 in their career in college basketball history from Bradley, Mr. Hershey Hawkins. That was an incredible pull on that one. And then, of course, that took us to the tiebreaker, the highest per-game block total in an NBA season by Mark Eaton, 5.56. So, Preston, we will talk to you tomorrow on The Fight. Thank you so much for joining today.
All right, thank you, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Preston. Preston with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, Oli Marmol is headed into the last year of his contract, and there are reports that the Cardinals have had no substantive negotiations to extend his contract. Are the Redbirds telegraphing a move here? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, you need to know that if you are interested in Medicare, today is the deadline for open enrollment for Medicare, and you need to let Jordan Krugman, my high school classmate, help you out with alternative plans if you aren't going to go with Medicare or if you are. Either way, you should get in touch with Jordan by calling him at 314-602-4055. That's his personal cell number, 314-602-4055. And Jordan is going to be there if you need insurance for you or your company. He makes insurance easy. He's an independent broker, and he works for you. He's going to meet you either at his office or over the phone or on a Zoom, and he will be sure to save you money. For example, Jordan recently received a call from a business owner with 4 employees, and they're now saving $380 a month because of the coverage that he got them. The health insurance guy also has great options for dental and vision and prescriptions and Medicare and life insurance, and he'll tell you that healthcare.gov is the last resort. Those plans are costly and restrictive, so go with Jordan Krugman, the health insurance guy at thehealthinsuranceguy.net, or call 314-602-4055. Jordan Krugman, the health insurance guy. Cardinals historically have been reticent to allow a member of their front office, the POBO GM manager, to head into the last year of a contract without an extension. Tony La Russa did it towards the end of his career because he was older, and he knew because Bill DeWitt had told him he could be the Cardinal manager for as long as he wanted. If he wanted a long-term contract, he could do that. He could get a long-term contract, but at that point, Tony had determined that he wanted to go year to year. The Cardinals are in a different situation now because Oli Marmol is heading into the third year of a 3-year contract, and according to reports, Derek Gould and others, there have been no real substantive negotiations about Oli getting an extension. And even Oli said to MLB Network, hey, if you're good, they'll keep you. Well, now the Cardinals have hired Yadier Molina as a special assistant to the president of baseball operations. My thought process here, guys, is that this is a tell on the part of the Cardinals that you could have just put right next to the title special assistant to president of baseball operations / manager in waiting.
That's what it feels like.
It does.
100%. And just want to go back to that quote because that is something that Oli Marmol mentioned. Win and they keep you unless you're Mike Schilt. Because Mike Schilt won 17 games straight, and they decided before even that winning streak that they were going to get rid of him. So I don't know if that's always necessarily the case to say win and they keep you, because a lot of other philosophical differences can happen. And Randy, you're 100% right. That is exactly what's happening. I likened it to this whole Arkansas head coach situation, their head football coach. You have Sam Pittman, and Hunter Yurachek goes out there, their AD, and says, he's going to be our head coach. We're not getting rid of him. He's going to be our head coach next season. All of a sudden, they hire Bobby Petrino, and he's just going to be there. You know, Sam Pittman knows, oh, okay, just one misstep, and he is right there to take over my job. This is what this feels like, is that Yadi is just there in waiting, because what were the things that we were talking about? Well, he needs to get some experience in the dugout. He's also doing all the things that he needs to do in Puerto Rico of working on being a manager, taking over that job. We know that he was the manager of Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic. He's just waiting to be the manager. And his brother even sat here in studio and said he wants to be a Major League Baseball manager. It's just a matter of the right opportunity and time.
Yeah, I feel like this is, I told you all, I had a teammate who called me after we drafted his position in the first round. He said, man, it's been fun. It's been real. So, what you mean, man? He's like, oh, man, they draft your position. The writing's on the wall, sir. I think I hope that that's not the case for Oli. I hope they go out and win, 100 games, and he's in a position to put this team in the World Series. And I think that that's what it's going to take. It's unfortunate because when you are in your final year of a contract, they hire someone who has a long history, a great reputation here, and you know that person wants to manage in the major leagues. It's a tough situation to be in, but if you're the manager right now, all you can do is your job. You can't focus on what ifs, what could be, what can be, what might be. You just have to do your job every single day, and hopefully you lead this team to a great record and to a playoff run. And if the Cardinals do decide, like they did with Mike Schilt, to go in a different direction, then someone else could be looking to hire you. But I think that if you're Oli Marmol, this is a tough situation to be in. And these are the types of situations that cause people stress and concern and worry about job security. Do I have it? Do I need to go in and sit down and say, hey, let's revisit this contract situation? And if you get a firm no, then you kind of know what the answer is: win or go home. And that's essentially what it could become for him.
And here's the other thing. If you're Oli Marmol and you've gone this far down the line, last year the Cardinals started 10-24. Cardinals start 24-10 and come to him and say, hey, let's talk about an extension. You say, no, I'm good. I'm good. And see if you can go win the 100 games and get to the playoffs. And then you're a 38-year-old free agent manager who just led a team to the playoffs on the heels of a 71-win season.
Right.
You were able to rebuild the culture, rebuild the winning tradition in St. Louis, where they didn't respect you enough to give you the extension before the season. Do you say, I'm good. We can wait until after the season?
It depends on how good your team is.
You're 24-10.
If you feel like, man, we are really rolling. We got a lot of good pieces. We're hitting the ball well. We're seeing the ball well. We're fielding the ball well. And, pitching has been steady throughout. I think maybe you do. It depends on how secure you are with where you are. If you feel like, St. Louis is a place you want to be, then no, you say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign it. But if you feel like, you all have shown me that I'm not your guy by the actions that you've shown me in the past year or the past few months, I'm going to take my chances and ride this one out.
Yeah, because you get more of that power back because you have that behind you. You have those wins in your arsenal to be able to use that to your advantage. I thought this quote was very interesting from John Mozeliak, and this was in Derek Gould's Post-Dispatch story where he talks specifically about Oli Marmol and his job security. John Mozeliak said, "I am very bullish on him, but I also work for an owner, and we want things to get turned around." He also goes on to say, "I'm very optimistic that Oli is someone who is going to be around for a long time." Now, that does kind of sound like in that line there, right, that there is some pressure from the ownership, right?
That's exactly what I thought. And I'm glad you brought that up because you don't say that unless you have differing opinions. And I know that we all know that Mo and ownership don't have differing opinions. But it sounds to me like Mo is bullish, maybe does want to sign the extension, but ownership is saying, let's pump the brakes on this because why waste our money? If he's not going to be managing us in 2025, why should we be paying him to manage us in 2025?
The interesting thing is when we talked about doing this segment, we didn't have the news that Yadier would be back yet. We had no clue, and then that just added another element. Like you said, we had Benji in here, and he was saying, maybe he'll be around in 24, but 25, he wants to manage in the major leagues, and that kind of makes your ears perk up. So this whole thing, it feels like it could potentially be a move towards having Yadier in that position. But if you are Oliver Marmol, just go win, and everything else will take care of itself. That's the only thing that you have control over. And as athletes, former players, managers, coaches, control what you can control, and you don't worry about the outside factors.
And here's my hope as a Cardinal fan who wants to see the team win. I've been a Cardinal fan literally all my life, and I want to see the team win. I would hope that Oli Marmol controls his own destiny to the point where he has his own coaching staff and he's able to actually manage the games and control his own destiny that way. Do I believe that's happening? Absolutely not. I think one of the reasons that Mike Shildt isn't here is because he wanted to control his own destiny. But I would hope that he gets enough rope, Oli does, like Bruce Bochy does in Texas where they won the World Championship this year, or Dusty Baker did in Houston where they won the World Championship the year before, or Brian Snitker does in Atlanta where they won the World Championship the year before that, or Davey Martinez does in Washington where they won the 2019 championship. I would hope that the Cardinals, when they hire a manager, allow him to manage and build his own coaching staff and take his own approach. The Cardinals insist that that's the case, but nobody else in baseball seems to think that it is.
No, and that's just the perception of it because of everything that happened with Mike Shildt. It didn't matter who it was, whether it was Oli Marmol or whoever they hired right afterwards. Wouldn't the public perception be that would be the case, right? And that's not fair to Oli, but that's just exactly what it looks like because of everything and how that played out with Shildt.
And at least in L.A., where Dave Roberts doesn't have control, he says, I don't make those decisions.
Oh, he admits that. Yeah, he does.
So, and there's some organizations, obviously, where the front office is strong enough and the analytics people are strong enough and the manager is collaborative enough that you can do that and still win. Maybe not the World Series all the time, but you can still win a lot of games. Clearly, the Cardinals have not shown themselves, in terms of winning World Series, to be strong enough for the front office to come down and say, okay, here's how we script this out. Let's do it this way, and then have it succeid.
It doesn't work that way.
I don't think it works that way either, unfortunately.
So, but we all agree that with Oli heading into the last year of his contract, it just has the feel that the Cardinals already are ready to move on.
It's unfortunate, too.
Well, especially with Yadi coming into the picture now, that just makes it even more clear with this new job title, special assistant?
Special assistant, yeah.
Yes.
With a desk right next to Joe McEwing's.
I don't know if Joe McEwing will be around as much, but hey, that if you think about it, that works out for him pretty well for Joe McEwing. You still get to keep your contract and still get to do your job. It sounds like from the descriptions that he will be going around, traveling around a lot, working with some of the minor league affiliates and stuff, but that works out for Joe.
It does. And still, let's get our guy. No. Let's get Blake Ahern a little bit of help, okay? Down on the coaching staff.
It'll be all right.
I liked Blake Shelton this morning. That was my favorite one.
It's going to be a better year.
Blake Shelton.
The Grizzlies are starting to put some games together. Oh, yeah. The Grizzlies are starting to win, Randy. What are you talking about?
Starting to happen. Coming up, we've got our Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN.
Fellas, have you heard about the Midwest Institute for Non-Surgical Therapy? If not, let me tell you about it. If you're a man that is waking up in the middle of the night feeling like you need to go to the restroom, not able to go, struggling, or you could be suffering from benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, or also known as an enlarged prostate, my friend Dr. Akinwande has the solution. He can help you get it together and get you going back in the way that you used to be going. Prostate artery embolization will help you. It is a procedure, minimally invasive, that does not have much downtime and can keep you going and get you going back to the way you need to be. Live the life you used to lead and improve your quality of life. And the best part about it, it is covered by most of the insurances that are out there. So schedule a visit, see how he can help you. Visit him online at mintstl.com. That's mintstl.com. Most of these people that have the procedure notice a difference within 24 to 48 hours, and over a 6-month span, the prostate could be reduced by as much as 40%. Reach out to him today. MintSTL, mintstl.com.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
Puck gets dropped. Blues pull it back into their own end. And a 2-goal lead and a potential winning streak comes to a halt here as the Knights come back to beat the Blues by a score of 6-3.
Chris Kerber last night here on 101 ESPN. The Blues did have a 3-1 lead after a period, and then things just disintegrated for the Blues late in the second, and they fell to the Vegas Golden Knights by that score of 6-3. Coach Craig Berube, after the first period, what happened?
Penalties for sure. I thought that made a couple. We took a couple penalties, got them back in the game. That was the difference for me.
The Golden Knights with an NHL season high 8 power play opportunities.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that was...
That's a whole lot.
Yep. And even if you aren't giving up power play goals, you're not giving yourself an opportunity to play 5-on-5, and you're not giving yourself an opportunity to score, and you're also expending a lot of energy that you don't ordinarily expend 5-on-5.
And that's exactly what happened to them last night. It was such a great first period. Also, I was so happy to see Jordan Kyrou get that goal. You could feel just the relief of him being able to do that because it showed off everything that we love about Jordan Kyrou, which is his skill and speed and the way he was just able to maneuver up to the front of the net. I mean, that's what you want to see from Jordan Kyrou, and to see it work out was great. But then things just falling apart there towards the end of the second period. We talked about how the Blues are able to kind of respond from game to game, right? So they lose the game, then they respond well the next game. But what about the in-game response from this team?
It's not... yesterday was kind of weird. I think what happened was, I think a much better team just decided to toy. They may have been toying with the Blues and just said, you know what, enough, and just started playing. But the Blues didn't do themselves any favors with the penalties. They didn't get any favors from the officials. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to beat the officials too.
Well, you were talking about, the amount of time on, the penalty kill, and I was listening to the show, listening to Curbs talk about it yesterday. Pavel Buchnevich had led the team in minutes in 24, but how much of that was spent on the penalty kill unit? How much, energy is exerted trying to get the puck out of your own zone when you're 5-on-4 and just trying to not allow goals to happen? And then when it's time to play 5-on-5, or maybe you're on the power play, how much gas do you have left in the tank? So obviously the penalties are a killer when you are facing that many opportunities against, and you're unable to just continue to push your way through when you're spending that much energy on the defensive side trying to kill a penalty.
And the Blues now have a 1-point lead over Nashville for the final wild card spot. They're a point behind Arizona for the first wild card spot. And if you look, guys, at the overall standings in the league, tomorrow night the Blues play at Columbus. Pregame at 5 here on 101 ESPN. And then on Saturday, the Blues are at the Blackhawks. Pregame at 6 here on 101 ESPN. Chicago has the worst record in the National Hockey League with 15 points. The Blue Jackets have the 5th worst record in the National Hockey League. So if you are in that middle tier, you've got to beat the bottom tier of teams. And so these are 2 important games for the Blues coming up tomorrow night and Saturday.
Very much so. You don't want to see what happened last night happen again.
Right. Tonight, Thursday Night Football, Kerry Davis is one of the people that's going to be watching as the Steelers play the Patriots.
One of the people.
Bet the under. Bet the under. Let's see what the under
30.
is.
It's 30.
Bet the under.
The over-under is 30. I think they said it's like one of the lowest over-unders. 16 to 15 to get you a win.
Yeah, that's not happening. Not with these 2. Mitchell Trubisky against Bailey Zappi, maybe?
Oh, that's exciting.
2 quarterbacks.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Rugged. So anyway, you'll hear it here on 101 ESPN. If you have some problems with maybe sleeping.
This is
just turn on the app.
Your melatonin game.
Turn on the app tonight at 7, and maybe you'll be able to get a little nap in.
Now I can say this because football in Pittsburgh in December, run the ball, play defense. You win championships. There's the recipe. Get it done, Pittsburgh.
All right.
Run the ball.
There we go.
Play defense.
The annual melatonin game. I like that. Maybe that's a good sponsor. I'm just throwing sponsorship ideas out there.
I think it's a good one. A good call. Well done. Well done. The Billikens fell to Drake last night, 75-69. Bills led by 18 and blew the lead. And last night, Juan Soto was the big name traded to the Yankees in a 7-player deal. Jeff Passan of ESPN, why did the Yankees make this deal?
The Yankees came into this offseason with a couple of goals. One of them was to get a big left-handed outfield bat. And in Juan Soto, they have come up with the biggest there is in baseball. He is a bona fide superstar. Now, they paid a hefty price for a guy who's going to be a free agent after the 2024 season. But frankly, they needed to. Coming off a disappointing year in New York, now they're able to pair him and Aaron Judge in an outfield that looks a lot more dangerous, along with Trent Grisham and Alex Verdugo, who they traded for yesterday, than it did 48 hours ago.
And the Padres get back multiple young pitchers, including Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Jahani Burrito, the latest latter-day superfluous H, Jahani Burrito, Randy Vasquez, and the catcher, Kyle Higashioka. Now, one of the things that's interesting about this trade from my perspective is you think about Blake Snell, about Michael Wacha, and about Seth Lugo, all leaving the Padres. They've lost 92 starts from last year in free agency. They needed to replenish their starting rotation for Mike Schilt, and they may have 3 guys that wind up starting for them in 2024. So they did a good job. Not the best job because of what they gave up for Soto, but they did a pretty nice job in getting what they needed when they traded one of the best hitters in all of baseball.
I just hate that the only big blockbuster thing really happens at like 10 o'clock at night, essentially.
Yeah.
So we were talking about earlier those riders just battling through Nashville, a hard city to have fun in, of course. And they just had to be there waiting for their opportunity for anything to break, and nothing happens until 10 o'clock.
Right. And the Cardinals did wind up picking up a relief pitcher in the Rule 5 draft yesterday. And if you aren't aware of the rules for the Rule 5 draft, when you grab somebody, you have to keep them on your roster or offer them back to the team that you took them from. And the Cardinals took a right-handed reliever from Boston, and by the name of Ryan Fernandez. And apparently he has good stuff, a strikeout an inning guy. Hopefully, and that's in AAA, by the way, not at the major league level. Hopefully, Fernandez will be a bigger part of the Cardinal bullpen in 2024 than Wilking Rodriguez was in 2023.
I was just about to ask you, who has a bigger impact on the 2024 Fernandez or Wilking Rodriguez?
I understand the
Moises Gomez.
Yeah, Moises is still around. Apparently, the interest in Wilking Rodriguez is like through the roof. There were like 12 teams interested in one of the pitchers, and then I read that Wilking Rodriguez is indeed a free agent.
Randy, I was, talking about the baseball and their inability to, have a hot stove and bring eyeballs. I'm looking at an article from 2011, America's Pastime, 20 Reasons Why Baseball Will Always Hail Over Football. That kind of shifted a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's left behind a little bit.
It's a shame.
I guess the most exciting part, I wouldn't even say exciting, but where you finally get kind of like an interesting quote is when Scott Boras held his press conference yesterday. Did you see the amount of media members over there? And I asked some of the writers, I was like, was that the biggest press conference of the week? And they said, yeah. And he had a lot of comments, but specifically what we care about is what he said about Tyler O'Neill. And he said Tyler O'Neill, was 8th in MVP voting, 30-plus home runs, won 2 Gold Gloves. With the talent evaluation of the Cardinals, it's nice to know that they have players who reach higher levels, I guess.
No, that was he really did have a good year. That was last year that he had the 30 home.
No,
well, the year before, Brooke.
No.
20.
A few years back.
So
it was
what year is this going to be coming up?
24.
2024.
And what year was that he's talking about?
A little while ago. Yeah.
21.
21. Yeah.
He was really good that year.
Hey,
Randy. We gotta take that into consideration, right?
You don't have to talk about the other stuff, especially if you're an agent. He is the king of cherry picking.
He played in
information.
138 games, and he played in 96 and 22 and 72.
Dylan Carlson should have Scott Boras as an agent because in 2021, Dylan Carlson was 3rd in National League Rookie of the Year voting.
You need to figure some things out.
But the talent evaluation shot, I thought was very interesting that Scott Boras made that comment. What do you think he means by that?
Yeah, he knows. He's a former Cardinal farmhand. He's a Cardinal fan. He wants to see him succeed too, and it ain't going to happen when you keep trading away people like Rosarena and Garcia. So, and he thinks that O'Neill can be one of them guys, one of those guys.
I think he could have been. One of them. That's his job, right? His job is to sell his guy and speak glowingly of his players, and so that's what he's going to do. He's going to do that, but realistically, we have eyeballs.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
All right. There's your Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN. Hey, there's a cool event coming up later this month in St. Louis. Actually, it's one of the coolest events that happens in Missouri. It's Mizzou Wrestling, and they're going to make the trek from Columbia to St. Louis on December 21st. We're going to talk about it with one of their former wrestlers at Mizzou and their head coach. Next on 101 ESPN. Hey, folks, you need to know about getting the best rate when you get a new car loan. And the best rate available to you is going to come from AutoLoanPro.com. Here's something that I didn't think about, and we should all think about. When you go in to buy a new car, you just accept what the finance person at the car dealership says, rather than actually working to find the best rate. Auto Loan Pro is working with over 50 lenders to help you get the very best financing, the best rate, and the lowest payment that you can have. You know, anyone can sell you a car, but it takes a pro to do it right and to buy it. And making a large purchase with a finance can be complicated. What the Auto Loan Pro is going to help you get through that whole process. They're amazing at what they do. They know that life can put people in bad circumstances, and your credit rating can be hurt. But at AutoLoanPro.com, they'll help you get through the process and get your new car. Make sure that you use the AutoLoanPro.com.
He's a Mets fan. He is, and I just don't hold that against him, okay? Like, when it comes to wrestling, he has a brilliant, brilliant mind. When it comes to baseball, he's a little, stupid. Like, it's not his fault. He just grew up that way. He's a Mets fan. He can't help it. Don't hold that against him or the team. Show up the 21st of December. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's at the Stffel Center. Be there.
That is the voice of our friend, former Mizzou wrestler and proud Mizzou alum, Greg Warren, who's in studio with us. And he is talking about the head coach of the wrestling team at the second-ranked team in the country, Missouri, Brian Smith, who joins us now, our friend of the show here on 101 ESPN. Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Doing great. That was a low blow. You're getting me that I'm stupid and I'm a Met fan.
We talk facts here on 101 ESPN. We talk facts, and sorry, Brian. You know a lot about wrestling. I'm so proud that you're our coach. But as far as baseball, it's an embarrassment.
Wow, Brian, that's Greg Warren. You've got to fire back.
I do fire back during the season when we knock him off every once in a while. One time I was watching him, and he was right behind home plate at the Cardinal game, and the Mets came back in like the last inning, and I tortured him, and I saw him leave the game.
I guarantee all these guys remember that game. It was, I think, not last year, but the year before, when Miles Michaelis went toe-to-toe with Max Scherzer, and it was the only time in my life I've had green seats. I was right by, and he's texting me, and he's going toe to toe with him, and then we get to, I think it was top of the ninth. Gallegos gives up like 4.
I was at that game too.
Were you there? Yeah, it was brutal. It was horrible.
So, Brian, how excited are you about getting your team to St. Louis?
Oh, it's going to be great. It's the first time there's going to be a match at the Stffel Theatre. Any athletic event on the theater. And it's the night before the bragging rights basketball game. And Illinois has a great squad this year in wrestling. So it's just one of these things that kind of came together, and we're ranked really high. They're ranked really high. It's on the theater stage. It's going to be a great event.
Now, Coach, I do have my Illini shirt on today. I went to the University of Illinois, and I do plan on being down there. I want to come check out this event because I've heard great things. I call him Warren G now. That's his new nickname. Warren G has told me great things about this event, so I will be down there checking you guys out. Tell us a little bit about some of your guys that you have and who can we expect to see, maybe put some Illini down on the mat.
Well, it starts with, our first weight class, 125, Noah Thurton. We call him our spark plug. He gets everybody fired up. And he actually grew up in Illinois, in Edwardsville, but, we stole him away, and he's at Mizzou, and he's ranked really high in the country, and so we're looking for that. And, of course, you have Keegan O'Toole, who's a returning two-time national champion and going for his third title as a junior, that he will put on a show. He always does. You have guys like Rocc, Elam, who's got 3 All-Americans already, and Peyton Mako, who is working on his PhD right now, thanks to COVID, in his 6th year, and he's a returning All-American. We just have a great squad coming back with 5 returning All-Americans and a national champ, so going to see some great wrestling.
Did you ever expect that during his career at Mizzou that Greg Warren would pursue a PhD?
Yeah, no.
What do you think some of the toughest matchups are, Brian? I was looking at one that I thought might be really. I would think at 174 is really, really a good match, right?
That is yes, because Peyton Mako, our 74-pounder, was an All-American last year, and early in the season last year lost a really tight match to Ed Ruth. So those two are ranked in the top 10 in the country. So it's going to be one of the feature bouts. 2 guys that could actually be in the national finals next year. This season. So it'll be a good one. It'll be a really good one.
Now, Coach, I know that you guys compete in the Big 12 as the SEC does not sponsor wrestling, and I'm sure that was a very scary time, right, when that transition was happening of that uncertainty. And I heard that there was somebody in this room who was kind of adding to that confusion or maybe trying to scare you a little bit. Greg, did you make a prank call to Coach?
I don't know, Brian, did I do anything like that?
Yes, he did.
Gary.
So what happened? It was a time when I was just sitting, people were calling in and saying, what are you going to do if the program drops? And I'm like, it's not dropping. And so then I just heard my assistant coach down the hall getting frustrated. He was getting really upset because he was fighting with somebody, arguing with somebody on the phone. We're not selling our mats. We're not dropping the program. And I went in there and put it on speaker, and I hear this real... Go ahead. Use your voice, Greg.
I'm a high school coach down here in Texas, and I know you guys aren't going to have wrestling anymore, so I was wondering if you could donate your mats. Just send them on down. We'll come get them. We'll come up there. He's like, we're not dropping our program. Hey, if you don't want to give us your mats, that's fine, but just say it. Be a man and say it. Say you don't want to give us the mats. We're not dropping the program. We're going to the MAC. Listen, I know I'm from Texas, and we know when somebody's a liar. Just. Brian was furious.
Caught him.
Brian was like, get his number. Find out who this guy is.
How long did it take before you figured it out, Brian?
I had to call the main office to get the number. When I finally saw the number, I realized when I checked my phone, and I was like, gosh. And when my assistant and I just looked at each other and we're thinking, that son of a gun, he got it.
Randy, it was because I went to school there, and I didn't want to call the wrestling office because he'd track me, so I went through Tiger Athletics, and I knew the number of Tiger Athletics. I was like, I need wrestling office.
Hey, Brian, I was never a wrestler, but I hear from everybody that did wrestle that it's the toughest sport, and especially to finish. So as a coach, how do you get wrestlers to battle through to the very end when it's so grueling and it takes so much out of them?
Well, it is a very difficult sport because it's a high level conditioning, and with that, then 9 of the weights, not usually heavyweight, but 9 of the weights have to step on the scale and make a weight. So the diet is and then nutrition is so important. And then it's a combative sport where health is a big deal, keeping guys healthy. So one of the things is just, the mental side of it, keeping guys to enjoy it. So if you ever came to our practices, our guys are playing kickball, having fun, doing some things as a team all the time, and just trying to make where it isn't just the focus on the wrestling, where we try to have some fun together as a team. And you got to know when to pull back and not put them through that grueling training so they can make it to the end, because it's a very long season. We go November to March, so it can be very physical and taxing on the body. But we've been successful with it. We've been in the top 10 the last 8 years, so we're doing something right. I'm not screwing them up.
We're doing a lot right.
Coach, I know you've seen just probably about everything on a mat. What is the one thing that you saw that probably made you the most proud of one of your athletes?
God, there's a lot of them, but I mean, I've seen where a kid, got his knee unfortunately blown out and shouldn't have continued wrestling and found a way to win in overtime at the conference championship and it was amazing. And I've seen things like that, guys doing heroic things like that, not thinking about it, but worrying about the team. But, somebody like Keegan O'Toole last year loses in a dual meet before 5,000 or 6,000 people, at home in a great duel with Iowa State, loses to one of the returning, a guy that was a national champ. They were both national champs. Then goes to the Big 12s and loses to him again in overtime. And you'd think, oh, man, he's got his number. And then in the national finals goes out, calm as can be, and beats the kid by 6 points. And wins the national title. I mean, you look at something like that, you have to have a great growth mindset to do that and not deal with, man, I can't beat this guy. He was immediately in the room working on things and just was focused and truly believed he was going to win. And when I saw him walk on the stage before the national finals, I looked at my assistants and said, this is like my 15th time on the stage, with a national championship, finals. And this is the most confident I've ever been. And we lost to the guy the last few weeks. And he went out there and did the job. So that was really neat. That just happened. And you get to see Keegan on the theater stage in a couple weeks.
I was there for that match. That was amazing. It was awesome. I was there for all of them, actually. I was going to say, the match is on the 21st at Stffel. But on the 2nd of January, Mizzou is wrestling Virginia Tech, who's a really, really, really good team. And Brian has asked me to be the honorary coach.
Oh.
Yeah. And I just want to say it on these airwaves because you guys know me really well and St. Louis knows me. I want to say it out in front of everybody. Like, if Brian thinks I'm just going to sit there on the bench and clap my hands, that's not what I signed up for. I'm the coach. I'm the coach. Carrie, you're a professional athlete. I'm going to make some changes.
Okay.
And if I don't see what I like, the effort that I like, there's going to be some consequences. Like Keegan O'Toole may be the best wrestler in the country. If he doesn't put out the effort that I want to see, I'll cut him. I'll cut him from the team, guys. I will.
Coach, I hope you're prepared for this.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that.
Tickets are available for Mizzou and Illinois at Stffel Theatre coming up on the 21st, and you can get tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Again, December 21st, 7 o'clock. You get to see the Mizzou wrestling team, the third-ranked wrestling team in the country, right here in St. Louis. And, Coach, just because you've told me before about the atmosphere around Columbia, and when you guys have matches, when you have a card, tell us what it's like for fans that are going to be in the building that night.
I mean, it's just very intense. And with the theater, it's going to be really cool because the UFC Fight Channel is going to cover it. So they're going to run it like a fight. And the announcer's going to come out to the mat. And in the back of the theater, the lights will shine and the athletes will walk through the whole, the whole arena,
awesome.
The theater, from the back of the arena to the front. And it's just going to be great wrestling, two programs that have a lot of great wrestlers getting after it. And just when a guy gets a pin or a guy scores big points, the place just erupts, and it's exciting.
Well, we think it's cool that you're bringing our buddy back into the fold here, too, because Greg Warren always talks about the pride that he has in the program, and it's sold heavily here in St. Louis, and we're excited to see you guys. Thanks very much for the time, Coach, and have a great day, and we'll see you on the 21st.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Brian Smith, the head wrestling coach at Mizzou. Again, tickets start at just $10, and you can purchase seats in the mezzanine level for $10 or $15. The orchestra level, $25 and $35. Purchase yours today at Ticketmaster.com. Are you going to be front row, Greg Warren?
Yeah, I don't know. I bought a ton of tickets. If you need tickets, let me know, Randy. I bought some special ones where I get to do like something before I don't know. I get like there's food and drink before.
Oh,
Yeah. There's like
you can get that. Yeah, the VIP packages. For VIP packages, all you need to do is go to MizzouToTheLou.com. They range from $100 to $125. Wow, you did spend some money.
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did.
And mat side seats located on the stage, $200 with hospitality included throughout the duel.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, man.
Good.
Yeah.
And are you traveling anytime soon before the
I
holidays?
am leaving for Columbus, Ohio from here, actually.
Do they laugh in Columbus?
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Are you going to tell them you're from Mizzou?
I'm gonna. Yeah.
Good.
And I'm going to tell them, those guys they're making it like this isn't a big deal for them. And like it's loser talk. I've already heard them like, we don't have some of our guys and we don't really play in these kind of bowls. It's loser talk. I've heard it before. Yeah. And
if I'm not mistaken, they got beat by a team that didn't even have their coach.
that's you should be a politician, Randy. You need the #1 team in the nation. That's great, man.
Oh, good seeing you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me in, guys, and thanks for promoting my favorite thing. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, we loved when you were out at. You're talking about when you were out at Funny Bone a couple of weeks ago. you were fabulous at Funny Bone.
Thanks,
your new set. If anybody gets a chance to see it, you rock and roll. It's great.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Greg Warren with us on 101 ESPN, and he'll be at the wrestling coming up on December 21st, Ticketmaster.com. Coming up, we're going to talk some Blues hockey with our buddy Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are going to throw yourself a Mizzou Bowl party on the 29th, I want you to plan it with Schnucks. Just go to Schnucks.com and click on that Order Ahead tab, and you can find so many great entrees and appetizers. You can get fried chicken there. You can get shrimp cocktail, and they have fabulous trays of sandwiches at Schnucks. Just order everything ahead of time, pick it up. You don't have to do any cooking, and then you can just enjoy the game when you throw your Mizzou Bowl party. Or if you're going to have a party before Mizzou participates in the bragging rights game, or if you're going to watch it at home, Schnucks is there to get you started and make your work as limited as possible. Also, when you use Schnucks, don't forget to use the Schnucks Rewards app and get 2% off every single thing that you purchase at Schnucks. And of course, for your holiday feast, it's important that you get everything that you need at Schnucks. It's the place to go in St. Louis. They're all about St. Louis. They're all about Mizzou. And if you're throwing a party, I'm telling you, there's only one place I would go, and that is Schnucks, and I hope you'll go there too. Order online, and don't forget to use the Schnucks Rewards app when you buy at Schnucks.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Yesterday, the Cardinals make it official. Yadier Molina has been hired to the Cardinals as a special assistant to President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak. Also yesterday, the Blues were back in action, facing off against the Golden Knights for the second time in 3 days, and they fall this time. They jumped up to a 3-1 lead, but then they let the Knights score 5 goals uncontested, and it's a 6-3 loss for the Blues. They're back in action, facing off against the Columbus Blue Jackets tomorrow. It's an early puck drop, 6 p.m., which means you have a 5 p.m. pregame show right here on 101 ESPN. Also last night, St. Louis Billikens had a big lead over Drake, but they lose it in the second half, and they fall to Drake 75-69. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Notes and nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Here in Davis, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN, and we head to the celebrity line now, and our Blues insider from The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, joins us. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Doing well. Always good when you can listen to a little Greg Warren. That prank was epic.
That's fantastic. JR, we always enjoy the roller coaster ride that is the Blues. Last night they took it in game, right? Normally it's game to game. Last night it was period to period.
Wait, let's back up. We do enjoy this?
Oh, I love roller coasters are fun. It kind of makes my tummy tingle. Tummy tingle. There we go.
Oh, man. Reminds me of the time I rode the jet stream out at Six Flags for the first time. I went with my mom, and I think I bit a hole in her hand. I was so nervous trying to get through that thing. But, no, yeah, it's happened from game to game this year. And it's happened in game, too, obviously. But probably not as drastic as last night when you talk about from the first period to the second period. And I always try to do the Tim McKernan thing, honesty in media. I think after the first period, I might have started working on a Jordan Kyrou story about how he could he break out. So this is where Blues fans will text in and say I jinxed them. But, penalties in the second period, and Craig Berube touched on those last night, tripping, slashing. I know the fans via my Twitter were upset with some of the officiating, but it seems like Craig Berube put the onus on his team. Too many penalties. They took the Blues out of the rhythm. As you said earlier, Randy, the Blues had to overplay a lot of guys, and it just zaps you. It takes away. And so they didn't play good hockey second, third period, and they wind up with another loss. So here we have 8 games in a row, alternating wins and losses.
Yeah, it gives you the kind of butterflies in your stomach that you don't like, right? It just has been that up and down season for the Blues. I did want to ask you about, though, because Jordan Binnington, obviously, that first game against the Golden Knights was just absolutely fantastic. And you have an article out right now, More Saves, No Antics. Can Blues Jordan Binnington change the NHL's perception of him? And you said that game the other night for Jordan Binnington was his best performance since June 12th, 2019. In this story, what did you discover about Jordan Binnington? When you mention those no antics, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, Brooke, a little bit of context on that is I think, people hear my opinion a lot, whether it be on the radio or with the stories in The Athletic about the team, about Binnington. And so I kind of turned to one of my colleagues at The Athletic, Jesse Granger, who also is a goalie guru. He plays goalie, and he writes a lot about the goalies around the NHL for The Athletic. And so I just talked to him because I wanted that outside perspective. Let's step outside of St. Louis and hear what people think about him. I'm just being honest here. Whenever I talk to people about Jordan Binnington, the first thing is who's he punching lately? Who's he, swinging at? Who's he going to the bench to greet? And so I think even when he plays well, that's the reputation that he holds outside of St. Louis, right or wrong, fair or unfair. So with the way he played Monday night in Vegas, I wanted to ask Jesse what he thought. And Jesse felt like, if he continues to produce like this and we don't see as much of the extracurricular, then he could probably turn around that reputation. So that's kind of where we went with that story. And I think that Jordan Binnington has had a great year. I think he'd be the Blues All-Star at this point. You guys probably wouldn't disagree with that. And we have seen a Jordan Binnington that's been antic-free, if you will.
JR, if I told you at the beginning of the season that Jake Neighbors would be leading the team in goals a fourth of the way through, you would have told me I was what?
Probably crazy, although I believe that he's capable of being a skilled player. And Kerry, I'll go back to the preseason bold predictions that I did. I think I did 10 or 11 of them, and I mentioned Jake Neighbors will play second line. And so the season starts out, and he's on the fourth line, and Craig Berube calls him an identity player, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to be wrong on that bold prediction, playing second line. But you see the work ethic, and you see what he's willing to do. And so he gets bumped to the second, and he gets bumped to the first, and he's just playing out of his mind right now. Team leading 10th goal of the season for the Blues last night. So he's doing all the right things. To me, he's one of their more consistent players. He deserves to be a top six guy. But big picture, Kerry, I really do believe that he can be a middle six for sure, and he can play on your top line in a pinch.
Hey, JR, I want to go back to Jordan Binnington. Do you think that he wants the league to think that he's calmed down, or would he prefer that the Blues or that other teams think that he's still capable of going nuts?
It's a good question. I think that he's probably at a point in his career where he's hoping to move past it, and I think probably a little bit at the urging of Doug Armstrong and Craig Berube. Doug Armstrong told him last year, look, you're putting this spotlight on you, and it's going to be difficult. Players are going to come at you. They're going to try to antagonize you. So I think as he gets older, Jordan Binnington's probably trying to learn from that. If we had him here on the phone, I think if you asked him if he cared what people think about him, he'd for sure say no. But I think that as you get older and you mature and you want to hold down your spot and you want to be accountable to your team, you've got to produce. That's what it all comes down to. So, I think that, that, like I said, does he care about what people think about him? No. Is he trying to get into a point in his career where it's all about winning, which is what it's been, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't need to do a lot of that extra stuff I think that he's done over his career. And now I think we're starting to see that Jordan Binnington.
JR, we always love your work in The Athletic. We always love your work here. Thanks so much for the time. We do appreciate it. Have a great day and a great weekend.
You guys too. Good to talk to you, and we'll talk to you next week.
You bet. Thank you, sir. Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic on 101 ESPN. We are not heading down the stretch here because Tim McKernan, in a stunning development, is out sick today on a day where it's going to be 64 degrees and sunny here in St. Louis, and Tim likes golf. That's why it's stunning.
I am heading down the stretch, though.
You are heading down the stretch coming up. Yeah, you have an appointment.
I have an appointment.
But we will we will handle the 10 o'clock hour, 10 to 11, is that? Yeah. It's 10 to 11.
Yeah. Do we have rock and roll next?
We do have rock and roll coming up. I'm just checking out Tim's
the time, the weather.
Timmy's.
You don't believe that
Timmy's tea time's probably at 60.
Very sunny
1 o'clock.
You don't believe that he's not feeling well?
Oh, are you serious? We're just joking. Tim's under the weather. He will not be in today, but we'll be with you till 11 here on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're looking for an enjoyable lunch or dinner today or any day, I want you to stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. If you want a tantalizing lunch today, man, their special on Thursdays, the meatloaf with mashed potatoes and green beans, is absolutely heavenly, and you'll love it. You can stop by Fenton Bar and Grill on a beautiful day like today, sit out on their patio. It's the best patio in the area, and enjoy their fantastic ambiance. The people are great. Alicia's going to be there today. Stop by and say hi to Kelly, the feisty redhead. Megan is going to be there. I think Ashley will be around. They'll take care of you. They've got great food, and my guy Chuck, the manager, will help you out. If you've got some holiday orders that you got to make, stop by and say hi to Chuck as well, and just enjoy the fact that you're going to be talking sports. You're going to be living sports when you go to the Fenton Bar and Grill. It's easy to get to. Just put it in your GPS, or just from the Soccer Park Road, make your way over to Rudder Road. All of the construction is over, by the way, so it's super easy to get to, and I love it. I might even stop by there for lunch today because it is divine. It is the Fenton Bar and Grill. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com. And when you stop by, enjoy those trashed wings, the best in town, and tell them Randy sent you.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Things for you. Number one, you can join in the holiday spirit by helping 101 ESPN support Operation Food Search throughout the month of December. We at 101 ESPN have partnered with STL Shirt Company to offer a special 101 ESPN online merch store, that would be merchandise store, this month, offering 101 ESPN t-shirts and hoodies and hats and more. Plus, we brought back some of your favorites like the Dunctionary t-shirt, Be Patient shirts, Jamie Rivers and Brad Thompson jerseys, and you can order any of the swag during the month of December, and proceeds from all sales go to Operation Food Search. Visit the 101 ESPN online merch store now at 101ESPN.com, powered by McBride Homes. We also have for you the ability, if you so desire, to win some tickets. Cardinal tickets, that's right. 'Tis the season of giving, and 101 ESPN wants to give you free Cardinal tickets. Text in now, 314-399-9646 to score a Cardinals holiday pack of tickets. Matthew, how can people get this holiday pack of tickets?
Well, we're giving away the Sunday pack today. So if you're going to be watching Cardinals on a Sunday, you're going to be seeing them out there with what I think is honestly one of the best parts of the uniform, which is the Sunday cap. So the quick trivia question is here: what was the first season they wore the special Sunday cap with the one bird on the bat? What was the first Cardinals season that they wore the special Sunday cap with the one bird on the bat?
All right, that's a good one. And we're going to provide you a Sunday Fun Day pack that includes tickets to 5 different Sunday afternoon Cardinal home games next season. Cardinal Sunday pack, along with all of the Cardinal holiday ticket packs, are on sale now, with some starting at just $55. Learn more about Cardinals holiday ticket packs at 101ESPN.com. Be texter number... Let's go with Waymo. Let's go with 50. Texter number 50 will get the Sunday Fun Day pack of Cardinal tickets. All right, time for rock and roll. What do you got, sir?
Well, I came across a pretty incredible story yesterday. Randy, we've come across some pretty insane injuries in baseball. I think my favorite has to be when Matt Halliday wasn't a moth. He had a moth fly into his ear. We've had pictures. We had a player lie about how he hurt his hand on his counter when that's not really what happened. Max Scherzer got bit by his dog one time, and that when he was already on the injured list. There's been some weird injuries, but I think I came across the weirdest recovery story in baseball history. Lance Berkman was on a podcast on 108 Performance, and he told a story about how Roy Oswalt accidentally fixed what might have been a growing shoulder problem right in his rookie year. Here's Lance Berkman talking about Roy Oswalt back in the late 90s.
It was in 97. He shows up in this old, 78 Chevy pickup, that he had just bought, but always fiddling with it. But he kept saying, man, my arm, I just doesn't feel right. My arm's bothering me. And, they were trying to be careful with him. He was a pretty high draft pick. Yeah. They considered him a good prospect. So we'd leave Instructs. We come back in spring training the next year, and we're like, dude, how's your arm? Through the course of the conversation, oh, man, he goes, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? I was working on my truck. It was running. I'm not a mechanic, but apparently he grabbed the distributor cap, or there was some the electrical system that he was working on, and happened to grab a bare wire with his right hand. And he goes, when I tell you that thing sent about 4 zoom, as that motor was turning over, he's like, I couldn't let go of it. And finally, I was able to get off of it. And he goes, I kind of fell to the ground, and when I got up, I did my arm like that. He goes, it felt amazing. It's like it never bothered me since.
That's fantastic.
Roy Oswalt would go on to pitch the first, the first 11 years of his career with 30 games or more every single year, 28 his rookie year, and before he would eventually hit some injury issues in his mid-30s. But apparently he shocked the pain out of his arm, and he didn't feel it again for a decade.
I wouldn't advise that.
No.
But that's just happened to be lucky, I guess. Because that could have went really bad.
Yeah, no doubt. That's pretty wild.
Expose wires and just hold on.
Well, here's the thing, though. In 15 years, you're going to end up hearing some young player has a shoulder issue, but instead of going or an elbow issue, instead of Tommy John, there's a new electroshock therapy.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't shock your brain.
Or you can do what Aaron Rodgers did, which I can't say. But if you go look up what Aaron Rodgers has done for his healing therapy, at least one of his tactics.
The dark room retreat? Or the other one?
No, there's other things involved. He likes to listen to healing sounds.
Well, it's clearly
very
working.
specific
He's
sounds.
practicing after tearing his Achilles in 3 months. So there's that. Some people are healers faster than others.
You guys can look it up and see.
I don't want to.
Should they look it up? Now, some people are at work by now, Brooke. Should they look it up on their work computer?
No, do not look it up.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what this is.
Use it on your cellular device.
Oh. Why did he say the X like that? That's all you need.
Yeah.
Get you right back in the game.
No doubt about it.
Be back to normal.
One other piece of audio I ran across, I was talking about this to Carrie about this yesterday after the show, and I didn't pull it just because I would have had to curse. I would have had to bleep a lot of words, and it would have fallen apart in the integrity. But you can go find it, and that was Rasheed Wallace joined Gilbert Arenas for his podcast this past week, and he told a story which I had no idea, which is that Draymond Green grew up friends of the son of one of the Detroit GMs. And so Draymond Green was in the Bad Boys locker room multiple times as he was a little kid. Rasheed Wallace says, I'm going to go ahead and blame me, Ben, Tayshaun, Rip, and Chauncey because we taught him that stuff. He goes, every time he does some of this bully bleep, he's imitating us in the 2004 Pistons. I bring this up only because after that JR segment, we had a lot of texters who were saying NHL's getting soft. We need goalies like Binnington out there because the self-policing is better for the game. Do you think overall, and I'm looping in basketball here, do you think the enforcer part of the game still needs to be on the court and not just in the ref's hands?
In every sport.
every sport.
Yes. Take it.
Agreed.
Because if you don't, then people run rampant and they do whatever they want to do. And sometimes things need to be put in check. And how you put them in check is say, hey, you do that again, I'll do this. And so then they stop. Or you have to do it after they tell you, after you've told them once. And so, hockey, people get punched in the face. Mm-hmm. In basketball, people get screens set hard on them. In football, it used to be you could crack block and really take someone's soul from them. It was glorious. It's not it's not as much anymore. Like I watched Hines Ward break a guy's jaw. It was tone setting.
Keith Rivers?
Yeah, man. Tone setting? Indeed. So you don't like it, be better. Be a better person. And Keith Rivers wasn't a bad guy. He just got hit. But, sometimes people have the only way people understand to stop doing something, you gotta hit their hand.
Or their jaw.
Or their jaw.
Yeah, good old headlock every once in a while.
Put them in a headlock, choke them out. Then they stop. It's amazing how this corrective this method just corrects
they
bad
lose
behavior.
That's
part of it.
The Draymond stuff made a lot of sense. Him growing up around the Pistons. I had no idea he grew up around the bad boy or the 2004 Pistons, not the bad boys. Wild. It's just it's insane. And I love Sheed coming out and being like, yeah, this is our thing. But again, I think to a point, maybe don't lock your hand on the headlock. To a point, you need to police it a little bit.
Get out of it. You're 7'5", man. What are you doing? You're gangly. Move around. What are you? And your 7'1" teammate watched you get choked out. So how about that guy?
Yeah, right.
Be mad at Karl Anthony Towns. Don't be mad at Dre.
Calling him gangly seemed like a little bit of a heightism comment. It seemed like you were taking a little bit of shot there, Carrie.
Oh, man. You can rationalize anything.
I can make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, CD's going to be at Helen Fitzgerald's tonight from 6 to 8. You and Learn, right?
Yes, we will be.
Helly Fitzgerald's.
Yeah,
Helen Fitzgerald's.
No, Helly. It was Helly on the sheet the other day.
Helly, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't do it this time.
Yeah, you're going to go watch the Patriots and the Steelers.
You're going to watch the Steelers. The Patriots are just, there.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a former Steeler.
There
so Thursday Night Football with Carrie and Learn. Get signed up for a 101 ESPN and point giveaways and enjoy a cold Bud Light tonight from 6 to 8. Carrie and Learn at Helen Fitzgerald's on South Lindbergh. The Football Pick'em Challenge refreshed by Bud Light. Learn more at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. CD, have a great day. We know you have an appointment.
Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate it.
And we're going to stick around till 11 because Tim McKernan, unfortunately, has fallen ill today. We hope he's okay.
Yeah.
But he's early this morning. Early this morning. He said that I'm sick. I feel really bad. I don't know. I feel really
how
bad.
you sounded?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I can make it today. So he's not here.
Can I just say, I think my greatest fear in life right now is my phone dinging before my alarm goes off. Because it's never a good thing. It's never a good thing.
I don't have my ringer on at that time.
Smarter man than
NFL news and notes coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Winter is here and the air is getting colder. Your energy bills will be at an all-time high. Now's the time to replace those windows with 0% interest for 5 years and 50% off of all styles of windows. Now's the time to protect your family from the elements, lower your energy costs, and upgrade the look and feel of your home. Just call 866-90NATION or go online at windownation.com. Listen, new windows can save you up to 30% on your energy bills. It can give your home the look and feel that your neighbors will be jealous of and envious of, and they will be peering in, trying to figure out where you got these windows from. Window Nation, all they do is windows. They are experts. They have installed nearly 200,000 windows, and the average installer has 16 years of experience with 20,000 windows installed just by that person himself. So look into Window Nation if you're looking for windows. Keep the cold air out. Keep the hot air in. The wintertime can be a bear. You don't want to be in your home freezing. Reach out to them today at 866-90NATION or go online at windownation.com.
be an interesting weekend in the National Football League, and a game that we thought would be perhaps the game of the year is probably not going to be. Although the Buffalo-Kansas City game on Sunday night still has a chance to be a really entertaining game. And, Brooke, one of the things that's cool about this game is that Brady and Manning had that relationship for such a long time. They would go out and play golf together and do fun things, do videos together. Well, for this game, and by the way, it's not Sunday night, it's 3:25 on Sunday afternoon, the Bills and Chiefs. Allen and Mahomes have kind of become buddies. They're kind of like the Brady and Manning, where they go out and play golf. They bet on golf with each other and have a good time, and both have high-profile girlfriends or wives. And Alan was talking earlier this week about how, hey, we have this relationship. He still owes me for when we played in the match last year. But it seems kind of like this transcends the Bills versus the Chiefs, and they really like it to be Allen versus Mahomes. It's fun to see these relationships, especially among quarterbacks, where they build a little rivalry, a little friendly rivalry with each other.
And the league's always better when you have that rivalry amongst quarterbacks like that. I mean, Tom Brady and with Peyton Manning, that was so great just to see them competing on and off the field. They would even take that competitive nature with each other off the field, which is a lot of fun to see. But on the field, I don't know if you can put Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in that category just yet. You have to see a lot more from Josh Allen, especially. But Patrick Mahomes is well on his way.
Yeah, Allen has to be on a team that gets to a Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
That's how you define greatness. And Manning did it. Brady did it. And we saw it in the NFC way back in the day when Montana was at his best and Elway was in the other conference, and they were going against each other for Super Bowl championships. And until Allen is on that team where he gets to a Super Bowl, it's going to be hard to put him in the class of Patrick Mahomes. Although, I think at this stage, I mean, you look at Hurts, he's been to a Super Bowl. Is there anybody that you can really put, even though we have a lot of great quarterbacks in the league right now, anybody that you can put in the class of Patrick Mahomes?
Not at this moment. I don't think so. I don't think that there is anybody that you could compare him to right now. It was Tom Brady when he was still in the league, but now that Tom Brady is gone, I don't think anybody else can reach that. Now, I do agree with you with what you just said. I think Jalen Hurts can eventually get to that point, but as of right now, Patrick Mahomes is in a class of his own, despite even what's going on with the Chiefs this season.
And it's amazing that we talk about because I feel the same way. We talk
Joe
about
Burrow. We didn't bring up Joe Burrow.
No, right. And he's been to a Super Bowl, but he didn't win. His team didn't win, even though they were kind of screwed by the officials. But Kansas City's there sitting a game out of home field throughout the playoffs in the AFC. They're 8-4, and their offense hasn't been what we expected it would be. And they don't have the receivers. You lose Juju. Over the course of 2 years, you go get Juju Smith-Schuster to replace Tyreek Hill. You lose Juju, and you've got rookies and kids, and Sky Moore hasn't developed like they thought he would. Rice is just finding his way. Kelsey looks kind of like he's slowed down a little bit.
Yes.
And they aren't what they were in the past. But I don't think anybody would be surprised. I certainly would not be surprised if the Chiefs find themselves back in the Super Bowl.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either because of their quarterback. And that's the difference maker, right? That's the reason why, is because of Patrick Mahomes. We got a text from the 618 that says, it's never made any sense to me. Quarterbacks don't directly compete against each other, so why do we use this narrative?
Well, because they are the most important guys on the team. But I always try to say, Allen needs to play on a team that gets to and wins a Super Bowl. I don't say Allen needs to win a Super Bowl, but what you're trying to do is score more points than the other team. And if your quarterback can lead your team to more points than the other team's quarterback can do, then that does become a battle between quarterbacks. And when you're trying to define the best guys, ultimately, unfortunately, for the quarterbacks, it does come down to wins and losses. Kurt Warner and Trent Green were victimized when the 2000 Rams gave up 471 points. But one of the reasons that Kurt's in the Hall of Fame is because he was able to beat the other team's quarterbacks. Brady is considered the best of all time because in that Brady-Manning matchup, Brady's teams a lot of times scored more points than Manning's, and certainly they won more Super Bowls. So that's why it'd be fun to say, yeah, Josh Allen going against Chris Jones, but it just doesn't hold the appeal that the two quarterbacks have, because the quarterbacks are the people that everybody knows.
They're the star of the show.
Yeah.
They are the main characters in this act. And it's also interesting, too, because we haven't talked about the Bengals as much after Joe Burrow's injury that has taken him out, right? Because that's what you think of the Bengals. You know that they have a chance to win because of Joe Burrow. But now that he's not a part of that picture, it becomes a little bit more questionable. I know that they just beat Jacksonville, but then the game prior to that, they lost to the Steelers. So you would talk about with the Bengals not having Joe Burrow anymore, it seems like they're not even a part of a lot of these conversations now of potentially making the playoffs or being a playoff-capable team.
And by the way, Jake Browning was named AFC Player of the Week for his performance on Monday night, and I love what I see of him. I don't want to make the comparison, but the traits of just dropping back and letting it fly, I love when quarterbacks do that, even if he is only throwing the ball 4 or 5 yards downfield. There's a lot of Kurt Warner there in the way that Jake Browning plays. Now, is he going to wind up being Kurt Warner? I don't know, but he's completing 76% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and with that team, you just get the ball into the hands of your playmakers. Hand it off to Mixon. Get the ball into the hands of Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd when everybody's healthy. Get the ball into the hands of your playmakers and then see what happens.
Exactly. Please get the ball more over to Jamar Chase, because my fantasy football team greatly appreciates it.
How'd your fantasy team do last week?
You beat us.
Oh, darn.
You beat Aaron Rodgers' darkness retreat. Randy, you knew that was happening.
I was well aware of it. I was keeping a close eye on that.
You were celebrating with it, I feel like. Somebody texted in, did Lamar Jackson retire?
No, but again, he's a guy that hasn't been to the Super Bowl yet. And unfortunately for him, he has not performed well in postseason generally. He's going to need to change that narrative of him not being a big-time performer in the postseason before he can be considered among that group. Sure, he won an MVP, but Dan Fouts, when we talk about the top 5 quarterbacks of all time, yeah, Marino makes it into the conversation occasionally, but generally it's the guys that are going to and winning Super Bowls. And until Lamar does something like that, people are going to choose other guys. I would think that a lot of people, just because Joe Burrow took his team to a Super Bowl and Lamar hasn't, people would rate Burrow ahead of Lamar.
I could see that.
And I'm a Lamar fan. I hope he does well. I'm a Ravens fan. But at this point, I don't think you can put him in that conversation of the top 3 or 4 or 5 guys in the league.
And the only way you can do that is postseason wins.
To win. Yep. Other games this weekend, and we're going to have a much better schedule than last week. Let's just start by saying that. Tonight, notwithstanding, Patriots and Steelers. But you've got a fun doubleheader with your Titans against the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Will Levis against Tua. Excited?
Oh, same caliber quarterbacks for sure.
But the Sunday night game is Eagles and Cowboys. And that will determine whether, if Philly wins, they're going to win the NFC East. If Dallas wins, then all of a sudden Dallas is 10-3 and the Eagles are 10-3. And it's a battle to see who wins the NFC East. And that game will be played at Dallas, where I think the Cowboys have won their last 5. That should be a hell of a game.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Texans and Jets game just because the Jets have been such a spectacle this season, all the stories that are coming out. I'm just interested to see what happens with Zach Wilson and his return.
He'll be the same. I've already made my decision about Zach Wilson. Have you?
Yeah. I mean, I think they made the decision last season, even when they were kind of spearheading White. Remember that in the locker room?
Right.
They were very supportive of him, and Wilson was there in that situation. I just feel like he's not the guy that they see moving forward as being their franchise quarterback.
No, and the only reason
Obviously,
he's playing is
they
because
have Aaron Rodgers, but still, I'm saying like it seems like they don't have that confidence in him that he's able to just lead a team like that.
He's playing because he's the only man standing.
Exactly.
Right? And then the 49ers, who dominated the Cowboys, dominated the Eagles, look like they're going to dominate everybody in the NFC. But one franchise that the 49ers have trouble with is Seattle. And Seattle is at San Francisco this weekend. Man, the 49ers were good against the Eagles on Sunday. And it's hard to imagine that anybody in the NFC can beat them.
No, it really doesn't. That was probably one of the most surprising victories, just the way that they were able to just dominate the Eagles. I thought that those two would be very fairly matched in the way that they feel like they have the most complete rosters, the most complete teams out of anybody in the league on all phases. And so I was just surprised to see that be the end result.
That's Brooke. I'm Randy. This is the Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. Coming up, are the Cardinals going to be able to move Tyler O'Neill? They thought they could, but is it going to happen? That's next on 101 ESPN. The Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. Matthew is also here. Tim McKernan out today because of an illness.
Randy, why do you have to put the air quotes around the illness?
Oh, I didn't know anybody was watching.
No? Oh,
I do
well,
want to say,
they
Randy,
can see us on YouTube.
I didn't know that they could watch on the Air Alliance team studio cam. on YouTube.
The balloon party has curated quite the little niche group that shows up every day at 10. Some of them are here, so I want to say welcome.
Oh yeah,
welcome to the balloon party today, guys.
Feel free to text in 314-399-9646, 314-399 Yo-ho. This is the balloon party on 101 ESPN. Brooke, I kind of think when the Cardinals decided to tender a contract to Tyler O'Neill, and oh, by the way, MLB trade rumors projected that O'Neill would get $6 million in arbitration. I kind of think the Cardinals thought that I anticipated that they had a team ready to take him off of their hands. But now we have finished the winter meetings, and the Cardinals have not traded Tyler O'Neill. I'm getting the sense that maybe they didn't have somebody ready to take him off their hands, and they might be stuck with a $6 million outfielder.
Well, no, there has to be somebody, because John Mozeliak was asked about that, and he said there are teams that are interested. But the way what you're speaking to, that they've gone about it, making it very crystal clear that they are looking at moving Tyler O'Neill, kind of makes it seem like, hey, over here, we have a guy available. Come take him. We're making sure you guys know that he's available. Come get him. That does sound a little like you are maybe in desperation mode of moving him, but Mozeliak did tell reporters yesterday that they do have some teams interested in Tyler O'Neill, and Scott Boras seems to have a way of campaigning for Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, and hopefully the Cardinals can get something of value for him. Mm-hmm. And don't have to go to arbitration with him, because that wouldn't be good. But right now, what do you think value would be for a guy that you've said, your general manager and manager have both said, our outfield is Lars Nootbaar in left, it's Tommy Edman in center, it's Jordan Walker in right, and Dylan Carlson is our fourth outfielder. If you're another team, and the Cardinals have made clear to you that he is at best the Cardinals' fifth outfielder, and they don't have enough at-bats for him, what are you going to offer?
Well, I think that the Cardinals were hoping to maybe get some sort of relief pitcher in return for Tyler O'Neill. But I'm guessing, Randy, to your point of earlier, that if that was possible, that was something that would have already been worked out. But things have been moving pretty slowly during these meetings. I mean, we just talked about the only big news didn't break until Soto last night around 10. So it didn't even happen at those meetings. So that possibility is still out there. And it seems like that is what the Cardinals are focused on right now. So maybe they're just trying to figure out some way. But with Tyler O'Neill, do you think that if it was a relief pitcher that is very useful and a team would have a hard time parting with, wouldn't you have to package Tyler O'Neill with somebody else?
You'd think so. Yeah, for another team to take that money that they're going to have to pay him, I would think so. Now, John Denton, our friend at MLB.com, writes, in many ways, St. Louis is content with the rotation following the additions of Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson. And barring a shocking development, they likely won't make another play at a starting pitcher despite potential aces Dylan Cease, Corbin Burns, and Tyler Glasnow's reported availability on the trade front. Again, barring a shocking development, they likely won't make another play at a starting pitcher. So you're looking at Sonny Gray as your number one. You're looking probably at Michaelis as your two, and then Lynn, and then Gibson, and then one of Matz or Zach Thompson. I feel like that is a staff that can get you to 500. And if they pitch better than they have in a long time as a group, then they could get you to 90, 91 wins. But I don't think the Cardinals have that guy right now to lead their rotation like the other championship caliber teams do. Sonny Gray is going to have a year. He went 8-8 last year, and I know people don't care about the win stat anymore. I still care about the win stat. He was basically a 500 pitcher. I don't know if a 500 number one pitcher is what you need to get you to the promised land.
Well, and that's what you have right now, because this is what it looks like it's going to be for the starting rotation. I think we were all hoping that some sort of trade would come into fruition, either a Tyler Glasnow or even a Dylan Cease, because you do have guys available outside of Tyler O'Neill. You have Alec Burleson. You have, I know they mentioned Dylan Carlson being a fourth outfielder, but that's somebody who I believe also has value. And you have some prospects. We were talking about that potential Dylan Cease trade earlier. it seems like the White Sox were wanting just top prospects from teams. That's hard to part with, but you need an answer for the starting rotation outside of just next season, because you're going to be in the same position in 2025, needing to really fill a lot of different holes in your starting rotation.
And they must be hoping that their young pitchers, Connor Zerpe and Graceffo and McGreevy and Tekoa Roby, the other Kloffenstein, some of the kids that they got last year at the trade deadline, they must be hoping that those guys ascend to be major league quality starters. And I think it's a great hope, but what's the batting average generally for all teams with young starting pitching? If you get 50% of them to work out just to be serviceable, then you've done well. If you get one of them to work out to be a star, you're lucky. And it's been a long time since the Cardinals have had a young starting pitcher that turned out to be a star. A long time. And I just don't know if the Cardinals have it in them to turn this guy into a star. Any of these guys into a star.
Yeah, that's the big question. Take it or leave it. Just a late take it or leave it for you, Randy.
Okay.
Tyler O'Neill will be a Padre.
I'm going to take that. I'm going to say that Mike Shildt got the most out of him in 2021, and they find a way to get him on their roster with Juan Soto gone and Trent Grisham being gone too. Don't forget that, their Gold Glove winning center fielder from a couple of years ago. I'm going to take that. That's a value play for the Padres in 2023.
I guess it also depends on what the Padres would have available to give up in exchange for that, but still, I don't know. I could see a potential reunion there. And just going back to Scott Boris's comments on Tyler O'Neill, because, Randy, you had a great reaction to this. Tyler O'Neill, this is what Scott Boras said about him and the Cardinals, with Mozeliak making those comments about him. He said, Tyler O'Neill, was 8th in MVP voting, 30-plus home runs, won 2 Gold Gloves. With the talent evaluation of the Cardinals, it's nice to know that they have players who reach higher levels, I guess.
Yeah, and I look at the fact that those 30 home runs and the top 8 MVP was in 2021, and we're going into 2024. So I get what you're talking about, what the guy is capable of. But, I mean, in 2022, Albert Pujols had a great year, too, and nobody's talking about him being a player for 2024. I mean,
are you saying that injury history matters?
I would say injury and production history does matter.
Availability? Yeah.
Can you guys help me get a because Katie Wu wrote in The Athletic that it seems like the Cardinals are pretty much done. John Denton said winding down. And we've also heard some, not predictions, but some levels that people expect. Carey, I think, was the most conservative when he said this roster could be in a place where they could compete going into the trade deadline where they make a move next summer. John Denton said you can probably win the Central, but you can't compete with the other top NL teams. John Mozeliak, said that they're a World Series contender. Which one of those is accurate? Because those are 3 very different levels for a team, and we've thrown all 3 out today. And I feel like maybe it's somewhere between Carey and John Denton, in between that NL Central favorites and a spot where the roster's good enough that a trade deadline move could get you excited about being a contender. But I don't know if the difference between John Denton and John Mozeliak's predictions is realistic.
I think so. With John Mozeliak's predictions, where you're saying that they're going to be World Series contender. But here's the thing. When I first saw that quote, of course, I was like, oh, come on now. But at the same time, what else is he supposed to say? Because if he would have said, no, they're only going to be good enough to compete until the trade deadline, that would have actually given MLB Network something to talk about yesterday or the day before. It would have been everywhere because there was nothing else being done, so then it would have been blasted everywhere. Can you believe that John Mozeliak, they would be breaking down the ages of the starting rotation? Can you believe that he would actually say this? You know what I mean? And so I feel like that was probably the lesser of the 2 evils. Now, is it exactly accurate? No. I think that he knows that they would probably have to make some moves at the trade deadline, but hopefully not in the same camp of what you were this past season where you're sellers.
I get what he has to do, but I also think it's kind of disingenuous. My preference would be to have Tom Stillman sit here and we ask him, what do you think of your team for 23-24? And he says, well, we're not going to be elite. I prefer honesty. And then if you surprise people, and Mo has said that before, hopefully we surprise some people, and that'd be great. I think this team, by the way, going back to Sonny Gray, to me, when you have a number 1 pitcher, that's called win day. When that guy takes the mound, that's win day for your team, right? Sonny Gray, second in the American League Cy Young voting in 2023. When he started 32 games, Twins went 14-18. Not really win day, okay? Lance Lynn, when he started, the teams he played on went 17 and 15. And Kyle Gibson was actually the best. When he started for the Orioles, that team went 20 and 13 in 2023. So I just don't count, I can't count Sonny Gray as win day. And I hope, I hope he's number one. I hope he winds up being great. But I prefer winning, and I just don't see it enough from him. Let me give you his career, okay? I can give you. It's too much of a hassle. But he has never been a guy that. I'll just couch it that way.
Okay.
Where if you were going against Sonny Gray, you never said, oh, this for the A's or the Yankees or the Reds or the Twins, this is win day for them. This is lockdown stuff for them. He's just never been that guy.
Yeah, kind of like the same as for some of the other teams that we've seen that make it further, obviously, in the playoffs and potentially winning the World Series. It's like, that these are lockdown guys.
Right. And Lance Lynn, by the way, at one point was that guy for the Cardinals, too. And his first full season of starting, let me give you his the team's record. He won 18 games himself that year. And in 2012, Lance Lynn, was he a win day guy? Cardinals went 24 and 11. That's a win day guy.
This is a great text from the 314. Sonny Gray has never been a guy who is the guy.
Right.
That is the best description of it right there.
And if you have him as number 2, that's great. But for John Denton to write, and it's troubling for me that it would be shocking if the Cardinals don't make another play at a starting pitcher, then I don't see them being a World Series contender. Because
Mozeliak said they're World Series contenders right now.
Well, he knows more than me. He does know more than me.
And again, I understand why he said that, but he also did say that a day after his public comments where he said, I think we can win this division. And that's where he capped it. And then a day later, he then expounds on it. And it's like, why? Nothing changed in those 24 hours other than what he said. And so that's why I'm wondering what shifted that. And again, we're kind of setting the markers in different places. I think Carey's the closest. I think this is a roster that's going to be good enough that a trade at the deadline gets you excited for a potential postseason. I think that's the most reasonable expectation for this roster where it stands right now.
That's kind of the formula they have been following.
Yeah.
Right?
And everybody that's winning out of the National League is following. I mean, Padres fans expected their team was going to be in the World Series last year. Dodgers fans expected their team was going to be in the World Series last year. Mets fans expected their team was going to be in the World Series last year. Phillies fans expected their team was going to be back in the World Series last year. Nobody expected Arizona to be in the World Series last year, and they were.
Exactly. And the thing is that I don't like what was said, and I agree with you. It's not exactly the most sincere probably thought process with it. But at the same time, I'm not surprised, I guess, is my reaction to it is I'm not surprised that was the comments that he made. Because also, they're probably thinking about ticket sales and different things like that and selling that.
And the Cardinals can legitimately say this. John Mozeliak came to the Cardinals in 1995. Since 1995, starting in 1996 when they went to the NLCS, their two worst playoff teams the Cardinals have had since John Mozeliak has been a member of the Cardinal organization were 2006 when they won the World Series and 2011 when they won the World Series. They've had much better teams that didn't win the World Series than those two teams. So I think that they can logically and fairly take that approach. That's Brooke. That's Matthew. I'm Randy. Coming up, Matthew's got a hill to die on for us here on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues last night jumped out to a 3-1 lead over the Vegas Golden Knights, looking for their second victory in a row against the Vegas team. But unfortunately, they allowed Vegas to go 5-0 unanswered in the second and third for a 6-3 loss for the St. Louis Blues. They'll be back in action on Friday facing off against the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's a 6 p.m. puck drop, which means an early 5 p.m. pregame show right here on 101 ESPN and 101ESPN.com. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Is a big fan of unpopular opinions. He has many of them. And this is Matthew Rocchio's Hill to Die On.
I actually think this one might be. I actually think I might get some
blowback here?
No, I actually think I might get like a good response to this one.
Really?
But before I do that, I do need to point out Richard Johnson, who is a human being who works for SI. He says it in his Twitter profile. He's in parentheses
How
human.
do we know?
I see there's a picture of a real picture of him next to other human beings. Richard Johnson covers college football for SI. He has a source, and he's saying Michigan is working on a contract extension for Jim Harbaugh worth $11 million per year across 5 years. The main hurdle remaining is a commitment in writing from Harbaugh that he will not pursue an NFL job this cycle.
Interesting.
Wow.
With that picture of him with other people, is he taller than everybody else?
Richard, no. Well, he's the Michigan coach from the victories without Harbaugh. You see Richard standing off to the side behind him a little bit. So that's the Michigan coach, and there's Richard right there.
Okay.
So he's a real person. We can see that. So he was covering the Michigan game. So he was a real person.
I was just wondering if his nickname was Big Dick Johnson, and so it's Richard Johnson, and is he bigger than everybody else? So I was just wondering.
I didn't even see it coming. I should know. I should see it. I should see what's happening here. The guy's name is Richard Johnson. That's on me.
Bigger than everybody else.
That's on me. That's on me for trying to play it straight lace and not working at all.
I was too stunned to speak over here. Randy, my face was pure shock.
Come on, you don't. It's a nickname.
On that.
It's not a nickname. It's what they call it.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, fine. We're gonna get to my hill to die on, because I think I think a lot of people are gonna read this hill. Listen.
People are still.
I'm trying to move on from that. We're all adults, okay? And so here's my thing: is if you have a problem, just say it to my face. And I'm slightly subtweeting my good friend Jackson Burkett, who apparently has an issue with us doing trivia questions to give out tickets at the end of our show because it clogs up their text line before their show.
What?
Apparently, he leveled this complaint to somebody yesterday, and he said, "Don't tell Rocky I'm complaining about this." Well, I found out anyway, and you probably just should have said that one to my face. Just overall, I think we're all adults at this point. I've dealt with people I'm close to who are like, "Whoa, we can't say those kind of things." You don't want to offend anybody. I'm like, listen, I've known you since I was 4 years old. If we can't have a real, honest conversation at this point, what the hell are we doing here anymore? Like, just we're adults.
Yeah.
If you're an adult, you got to live with the fact that somebody's going to talk to you. If you're doing something wrong, if you're messing up, someone's going to talk to you in a way that you probably aren't going to appreciate, and that's just life. And I understand people don't like being talked to like there's somebody else as your parent when you screw up after the age of like 24. But that's going to happen sometimes, and you're going to get told, this is how you got to live life, and that's the fact of the matter. You got to deal with it and move on with life.
I feel like I was raised correctly, and I talk behind people's backs
so
that they don't.
Randy.
They aren't bothered
You're
by.
Not supposed to do that.
Being offended by them. So yeah, it's just,
but then that blows up when they find out what you said.
But I don't want to hurt anybody to their face.
No.
So I just talk behind their back. I think that's the way to go.
No.
But then
That's not the way.
Randy, they're never going to get better that way.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Okay, well, my assumption here is that the person who has a problem with you don't hate them like to their core already.
But Rocc, then he won't have anybody to talk behind their back about, you know?
Yeah,
like that's
right.
so if he confronts them about it and then they realize that they were wrong, then he doesn't have anything else to talk about behind their back. It's not as fun anymore.
Yep.
You know?
That's true. I agree with you 100%.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, it's all about just stirring things up.
Yeah, but stirring things up by talking straight to someone's face is even better. Like
because
that's
then you have
direct.
to hash it out and be honest, and you have conflict. Do you really want conflict?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Nobody wants conflict. So what you do is you talk behind their back, and you just kind of, you kind of take little jabs behind their back.
It's even worse where if they like walk into the room while you're doing it, and they're just like, so yeah. Anyways, how are you doing?
That's awkward.
That is so awkward.
Just say it to their face.
Are you going to fight Piddles or not?
Yeah. Any day of the week.
Then do it.
Let's just go passive aggressive.
Okay.
I think that's the thing to do. So if Action Jackson would walk in here and look at the text line and say, man, a lot of crap on the text line this morning. I wish somebody would have done that earlier. But don't say it to anybody's face.
Just subtly, just next time you see, hey, Rocc, how you doing? Hey. Just kind of cold shoulder him.
Right, yeah.
So I say, be an adult, be open, and you say, let's all watch Mean Girls again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's my goal.
I mean, your slam book must be juicy. Your slam book must be juicy, Randy. That thing must be insane.
I'm just all about ignoring and avoiding conflict at all costs.
Yeah.
Somebody says, Randy, what about Ranji?
Okay.
The timing of that was perfect.
Gotcha. Ranj, as Hitch would say, Ranj drags you into the battle. He wants conflict. He lives for conflict.
Somebody says you're mad at somebody who's being passive aggressive by being passive aggressive. I'm not. No, I'm being aggressive right now.
I like being passive aggressive.
If he was standing behind Ryder, I'd be looking directly into his eyes right now and saying that he should have said this to me straight to my face. Again, I'm not afraid of conflict. Again, I wouldn't do this segment if I was afraid of conflict.
Yes,
I enjoy it.
If only people could see like our meetings after the show. Rockio wants all the smoke, all the fire, all the conflict. Doesn't matter who's in the room, he's going to figure out a way.
I don't know.
Somebody says you have to be direct, but then try not to hurt their feelings. I mean,
I don't want to be direct.
Sometimes you have to hurt their feelings.
Oh, Randy, somebody's trying to stir the pot over here. Somebody from the 314 says, Randy, does Brooke know what you've been saying about her yet? Wow, called out on air. So this was about Piddles and Rocc. Now,
Brooke, of course you don't.
No!
We had a texter earlier who said, wait, an extra hour? Does this mean we're going to get a hill to die on? I go, yes, we are. He goes, if this one's a little too real, can we get like a different hill, like Rocc doesn't like dogs or something?
He doesn't like dogs.
That's not true. That's not true. Dogs are lovely. They're perfect animals.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you like them. You didn't say you like them.
No, I love dogs.
Okay.
They're the best.
Okay.
I'm just listen, and this is actually this is less of a coworker thing. I'll get down to the business. I just think if you've known somebody your entire life,
that's true.
You should be able to have more real conversations than I've experienced in my life with certain people I've known my entire life. I'm not sure why we have to play patty cake. When you're literally somebody who's known me more than almost anyone else on this planet.
From the time you played patty cake.
The most real conversation we can have, but yet those ones to me seem the ones that you can never actually have and people get offended the easiest.
Thank you, sir. That's good.
Thank you very much.
Here's the thing, Randy, though, if this was true, I would find out. You know how good I am at discovering things. It is my side hobby to investigate fully on what people are doing, saying. I don't know why I'm this way, and maybe that's why I got into journalism in the first place. It's fun. So, if any of you on the text line are talking about me, I'll find you.
And
that didn't sound creepy whatsoever.
She'll find you.
It's kind of like some people called me a serial killer the other day, Randy, because I wanted to eat Oreos with peanut butter, and they called me a serial killer, and I took note of that. I took note of who those people were, where they work, where they live.
They did not call you a serial killer. They simply pointed out that it seems like something that other serial killers would have been a fan of.
We're trying it tomorrow, right?
We are, because you haven't had it either.
I haven't either, no.
This delicacy,
okay,
this
so
Parent Trap delicacy.
Show. So how about 8:45 tomorrow?
Okay, yeah,
Eating
I
peanut
already
butters
bought
and
the
Oreos?
Oreos,
Yeah.
and I bought a new jar of peanut butter. Now, guys, what is the best peanut butter?
A Jif. Choosy mothers choose Jif.
I mean, I think pretty sure Greg Warren saw in the hallway, so Jif.
Yes, it is Jif. Thank you, and that's what I picked up.
Creamy, right?
Yes.
Okay, here's the name of the segment for tomorrow. Peanut butter and Oreos, thing or not a thing? Question mark.
They are a thing.
Well, that's the segment.
They are delicious.
Okay, so we're trying it. So we actually, I've been putting together tomorrow's show during Tim McKernan's show here. We're going to head down the stretch here with what's on tap next on 101 ESPN. here's our day here on 101 ESPN. In just a few moments, you're going to have BK and Ferrario until 2 o'clock. Fastlane from 2 to 6. And then tonight, the pregame for Thursday Night Football is at 6:30. Steelers and Patriots at 6:30. Don't forget, the Fastlane and the Rizzuto Show are battling in the Pick'em Challenge all football season long. And you can join Kerry Davis and learn from 105.7 The Point tonight at Helen Fitzgerald's from 6 to 8 p.m. Come watch Thursday Night Football with Kerry and learn. Get signed up for a 101 ESPN and Point giveaway. Enjoy a cold Bud Light. That's tonight from 6 to 8 with Kerry and learn at Helen Fitzgerald's on South Lindbergh. The Football Pick'em Challenge is refreshed by Bud Light. Learn more at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. And we also need to tell you that you can get some cool merch from 101 ESPN that will benefit Operation Food Search. We partnered with STL Shirt Company to offer a special 101 ESPN online merch store offering 101 ESPN t-shirts and hoodies and hats and more. And brought back some of your favorites like the Dunctionary t-shirt, Be Patient shirts, Jamie Rivers and Brad Thompson jerseys. And you can order any 101 ESPN swag during the month of December. And proceeds from all sales go to support Operation Food Search. Visit the 101 ESPN online merch store now at 101ESPN.com, powered by McBride Homes. We all have, I'm sure, Amazon Prime. Are we going to be tuned into Amazon Prime tonight to watch the Steelers and the Patriots? And doesn't it seem like this would be the game where somebody will win like 42-38 because everybody expects the game to be 6-3?
Yeah, I think I'm washing my hair tonight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it.
I understand that completely.
Isn't that what people used to say to get out of dates?
I got that one, yeah.
Did you really back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, washing my hair. Yep. I still remember.
I wonder if you can still use that excuse now or not. But
I think you can.
I think I have other things to do or would rather do than watch that. Will it be interesting to watch? No. If you want a painful watch, yeah.
And how do you feel about Al Michaels right now? Do you feel sorry for him?
I feel sorry for him.
He's like almost 80.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like the energy's there anymore.
No.
And I do too, because he was superb as a football play-by-play man, and it's just not there for him anymore. He's the definition of losing your fastball.
There should be like a clock, like a ticker when you turn on the game on Amazon Prime, and if you hit certain benchmarks of actually watching the game, you get like a coupon for like 10% off your next Amazon Prime purchase. It's like, oh wow, you watched 24 minutes of this game. That's good for 15% off. I think that's the one way to do it, and I say that only tongue in cheek because Amazon is starting when they have multiple games, and they're going to have multiple broadcasts essentially. And what's going to happen is, depending on your payment history, you're going to get one of two ads at certain points in the game. So, like, if you search for certain things, Amazon's going to give you one ad. And if your search history is a little bit different, instead of seeing that ad at the exact same time, a group of America is going to see a different ad that is tailored to your purchase history on Amazon. And they only have two. They only have like two right now. But I have a feeling this is going to be the new thing where it's going to be like they have a register of like 15, and it's going to be 100% pinpointed exactly to what you've been buying on Amazon.
That's brilliant.
It's going to get insane. Brilliant, but scary.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole world's scary now.
That's fair.
Do the right thing. That's all. Just do the right thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so question for the audience here. I know this is late to get, so we only have a minute.
Okay.
Okay. So have you ever thought, like, if somebody tries to carjack you, would you throw your key fob?
That would be your first course of action?
Yeah, because, okay, fine, take my car, but you got to go get the key fob
first. But then what if they get angry at you and shoot you?
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering.
I think that I would just give them the keys, honestly.
Yeah, just get out of the car.
For safety reasons. Please, if you're listening,
would you ask,
please.
Would you ask, may I please get my backpack first?
No, they're not going to want to. They're not going to negotiate. I have a feeling people who are carjacking are not negotiators.
And they don't care about manners?
No, okay. No. I think manners are out the window.
I pay insurance entirely so I can go, what? Oh, yeah, take it. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Okay.
There is somebody that I know. I have to be quick with this story. There is somebody that I knew when I first got here to St. Louis. Their car was stolen, and so they were going through the process of getting a new car. You know how long it can take to do that. And then all of a sudden they get a phone call. They were like, hey, we found your car. It was a part of a crime, but you can come and pick it up. And so they go over there to get the car, and it was a part of a homicide.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Bloody inside?
Yeah, bullet holes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
What at that point, what do you say?
Get the new car.
Yes.
Let's hold this one out.
Yeah, let's do that.
Laughing about homicide here on the balloon party.
That's not good. That's not good.
But it's a balloon party with Tim and T-Mac and Ajax. It's coming up. We've got PK and Ferrario for you.
We're going to get kicked off air.
We thank
Anyways.
you. We've got to. Well, it's a balloon party. It's not us. So we can make jokes about people's names. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7. Well, or 10. Have a great Friday Eve, St. Louis.